Hello and welcome to the Computer Game Show. My name's David Turner. I'm here with Sean Bell.
Hello.
Matt Murray.
Hello.
And James Farley.
Hello.
I'm tired, I'm ill, I'm grumpy, and I'm ready to fucking nominate some games. Know what I mean?
Has everyone done a test recording? Because we can't afford for this one to be a fuck-up.
Yeah, I mean, I have. James?
What? It's fine.
Have you done test recording?
Yeah, it's all fine. Don't worry about it.
Matt?
Yeah, I have, yeah.
Because we heard you from the moment you come on, and I didn't hear you do a test recording, but fine. Sean, test recording?
Yeah.
All right. So what's your point there, Matt? We've all done it.
Just wanted to make sure this can't afford this to be a fuck-up.
Fucking hell, he can't wait to jump in my seat. He cannot wait.
You're not wrong at all, but go on.
Right, what's going on?
I started early.
I definitely don't know what's going on, James, but is there anything you want to tell me?
Not yet. It's
what do you mean not yet, James? Can you stop?
Not on air.
What is this? It's starting very early.
I'm just perturbed.
I mean, it's the last chance because we're not going to do this sort of chat next week. It's down to business. Next week's basically a meeting. It's not the normal show. Is there something you want to tell me, James?
No, I'm just a bit perturbed about the way things are going.
Go on, James, go on. You might as well let it out now. Go on.
Go on.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Just
go on. No, go on. I want to hear, James.
Go on, James. Yeah, me too.
I've got nothing to say. I've
clearly got something to say.
James, you can't come in, throw a little dig, and not explain why.
Well, so no, it's just been like over the last couple of weeks. It's just been relentless. Like just the whole, not just about when you've gone, but also just all the stuff about like, can we record like stuff like between 1 and 4 in the morning, and just like we've got to get content out there, just the whole thing, and you're just thinking, fucking hell, is this what it's going to be like all the time?
Yeah, I mean, I saw a couple of those because that was in the main chat as well. He was like, right, who's going to live stream the Video Game Awards for me between 1 and 4? Just no reply for a good few hours. I said, well, I'm not doing that. And then what was the other one? The kind of funny one?
Kind of funny one, yeah.
Why? Aren't they just aren't they a rival podcast?
Well, I wouldn't call them rivals. I mean,
should we stream Kane and Rince next week and just talk over
that? They're not rivals either.
Actually, I like the idea of that. That's quite good.
That would be quite good, actually. Let's do that. where we listen to Kane and Rince and we just talk all the way through it, slag them off. That's content, Matt. See, even when I'm taking the piss, I come up with better ideas. Right, let's go. You're gonna miss me next year, son. Let's go to feedback.
First is from Adam Capone. Hello, it's Capone Adam here.
Hi
on
there.
July 18th, 2018, I was a guest on your 112th episode called Excelling in Skills. Towards the end of the show, you asked me if I had anything to plug, which I politely declined. Technically,
right.
You still owe me one plug, and now I'd like to use the opportunity to do a plug.
We offered you a plug. That had a sell-by date on it. What are we doing? We're letting him jump in the show and just plug his shit?
I wasn't technically going to read the whole thing, but just...
Okay, all right. Well, then next email. Go on. Read out his thing.
The Graham and Me podcast, episode 1, launched last Friday. It can be found on iTunes, SoundCloud, and YouTube. You can follow Graham and Me pod, one word, on Twitter to keep up the latest information regarding my new revolutionary podcast. Episode 1 features none other than funny man James Corden, as all three of us shoot the breeze in a garage. Ideally, you'd mention this towards the start. I'm fully aware that this episode right now is a GOTY Draft episode and will likely drag on for many, many hours. So it's quite likely that there are more people listening at the start of the show than towards the end. Thank you for providing the plug that I am owed.
If anything, there's more people listening towards the end of the show. Do you know what I mean? Than there is at the beginning. Because they start listening to it and go, oh, this is an absolute banger. Here, come over here and listen to this. And then they sit there for the next 2 hours and go, no, that was brilliant. So,
why is he doing it in a garage? Is he copying my style?
Yeah, he's nicking your thing. I've listened to the episode. It's even more insane than his usual stuff. So, I mean, just bear that in mind when you pick this podcast up. It's mental. Right, next.
Last week, Kurt Lewin emailed what David classed as the most insane email he's ever read. Well, Kurt's back. Right. Just thought I would send some feedback regarding the most insane email Dave has ever read that I sent in last week. An email that I thought was pretty tame on the insanity scale compared to some that have graced my inbox over the years. I must confess, I've never played Forza Horizon 4, although I have purchased it on the PC for Christmas. But I'd like to ask Dave if he has played any of those old Need for Speed Underground games. Anyway, from Dave.
Yeah, I've played old Need for Speed games. I can't remember the names of them because they all roll into one disappointing mess.
There's a million of them, isn't there? Anyway, from screenshots I've seen on Forza on Twitter, as far as I can see, the customization of the cars was limited to custom paint jobs like the excellent TCGS one, and maybe adding some body parts, like a spoiler. If I'm wrong, I hold my hands up, but you can add body kits on parts like a spoiler, and then increase the size of it due to ridiculous proportions. Put neon lights under the car, put an array of front and back bumpers onto lights under the Transit, and increase and decrease the size of the air vents to your heart's content. Can you do that, Dave?
As far as I'm aware, you can put body kits on these cars, right? If you want neon lights under your cars, mate, I mean, if that's the make or break for you in racing games,
and you want NOS, Forza probably isn't a game for you. Anyway,
yeah, no, I think maybe stick to Juiced. Yeah, listen,
stick to Juiced. Stick to the Midnight Club games.
I know, I mean, if you listen to me, and you've listened to me for a long time, you know that I over-exaggerate and, I take the piss needlessly and, I say, make these wild claims about the most craziest or the best game I've ever played and all that sort of stuff. I'm a cartoon. I'm a talking cartoon. But believe me when I say that's the most fucking insane email that I've ever read. Right?
Luke Boardman's emailed in. Matt was talking out of his arse. This was regarding Red. I assume Red 4 Dead 2 could be anything, but for Red 4 Dead, fucking hell, I'm tired. Yeah, okay. Luke Boardman has emailed.
Okay.
Matt was talking out of his arse. You could totally have done a spoilery talk about Red Dead Redemption 2 without having finished the prologue. It would be great to at least have you talk about your favourite moments in the game. Good luck today with Baby Number 2. He's been my favourite voice in podcasting for a long time, and I hope it's not too long before he gets the itch to come back.
Right.
Yeah, there's other people. I think actually,
Capone
also said to me that I was wrong for that.
Right. Okay. Did anyone back you up?
No, but actually, honestly, I don't think Luke Boardman's email doesn't really cover the point. The point was, he doesn't actually cover, the prologue at all. Yes, we could have done a spoiler chat about the game. I wasn't denying that, but I think, anyway, we've been over what
I'm very glad that we've waited, personally.
Are you finished it now, Sean?
Because you've finished it now, Sean.
I've finished the epilogue now, yeah.
Right, so have I.
Yeah.
And I have no idea why we couldn't talk about it last
week.
Okay,
I think the epilogue's massive, but whatever.
I think the epilogue is massive. I think the epilogue is fantastic.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
There's no reason why we couldn't have talked up to Chapter 6 last week. There's
would you not still have the itch to talk about it having done the epilogue, though?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Yeah, well, that's what I said. I said we can do one, but honestly, it's better to finish the epilogue given what happens.
You said you can only talk about the end of Chapter 6 when you've got the context of the epilogue.
Well,
so I said, but I haven't done the epilogue, and this is the last chance we'll get to do it. And you said, well, I think it's very important that you play the epilogues before we even talk. And I said, but then that means that I won't have the chance to do it.
Yeah, we had what you said, yeah.
Well, this is it. So...
Well, I mean, I played it, and by the end of it,
by the end of it, I just thought, sorry, how does any of this, as much as I enjoyed the end of this game, right, the very end of this game, I don't see why that means that I couldn't have talked about the end of Chapter 6 last week. So,
I know you could have done, but there was also a massive gap.
No, I couldn't have, because you said I couldn't. So,
if you listen to what I said, Dave, I said you could have done, but people want to hear again what you did at the end of the...
That's what you said on the show, but in the chat, in the Computer Game Show chat, when we were talking about it, and I said, I think we should do a spoiler cut, you said, no, you definitely need to do it, because it changes your opinion on the end of Chapter 6. What came first,
the podcast or the chat in the group?
The chat in the group came first.
But then we recorded, and I clarified the situation, and I said,
but we'd already made the decision.
Boring. Anyway,
it doesn't matter. Look, the whole of that game was a blur for Matt. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
But how much of the game was a blur for you, James?
I haven't played it, but at least I'm
exactly.
honest about
that, Stephen Cheney's next. You don't like chips. This is Dave's, and that's last week. You didn't like chips. You don't like chips. What sort of psychopath doesn't like chips? What awful things happen in your life to make you that way? People like you should be made to live alone on an island, far away from decent, honest people who like chips, as God intended.
Who said they didn't like chips?
You said you weren't a fan of chips.
I said I weren't a fan. I would say I weren't a massive fan of chips.
Yeah.
I'll eat them. When you don't like something, you don't touch them and you don't eat them. I eat chips. I'm just not like bowled over by them. I'm not like, oh, fucking yeah, chips. I'm not that bothered by chips. Roast potatoes I fucking love. And I'll eat chips. If chips are there, I'll eat them. But
people have heard what you said, and they think you said you've hated chips.
They're not the main thing, are they? Like when you order, go to McDonald's or whatever, it's not the chips you're after, it's like the burgers.
No, you're not sitting there going, ooh, chips. And when you go to a chip shop, yeah, they're better than the average chip.
They're pretty major thing when you go to the chip shop.
No, but what I'm saying is that, like, okay, they're a little bit better, but I'm still not going... If I'm sitting there and there's a pizza place next to a fish and chip shop place, I'm going to a pizza place 100% of the time.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel like sometimes when you're ordering fish and chips that, like, you're only ordering chips because you would just feel a bit weird just ordering fish? Because, you know, just be like, yeah, just one fish, please. Just fish? Yeah, just fish. No chip? No chips, just fish, please.
No, have you got any roast potatoes?
But if I had to order only one, I would just order the chips, not the fish.
Really?
Absolutely.
I'm with you on that.
I mean, I really like fish, but if I had to have one or two, I'll ditch the fish and go for the chips.
I just said I'm not massive like you meet people and they're like, oh, fucking chips, man, and I'm just like, okay, all right, just little bits of I don't know,
can't believe
little bits of potato fried, and they taste yum.
Yeah,
Stephen Chain did try and soften the blow by the end by saying love and hugs, so just thought I'll keep that in.
No, I ain't got a problem with you, mate. You just misheard me. I said I'm not a massive fan. I didn't say I hate chips. God,
it's like the opposite of me with fucking Warframe.
Exactly. Warframe fan.
Yeah.
Chip
it's the opposite.
Last week we talked. Okay, we must talk about a moving house simulator. I'm sure that was
we
one
did. We were talking about Shenmue 2 as the ultimate moving house.
Of course, yeah. Well, yeah, good, because we got a question. Ashley Day at JellySK on Twitter. What are the chances a moving house sim right after you discussed it on the show, you willed it into existence? That game is moving out. We'll probably cover that in like the Kind of Funny Game Showcase or whatever coming in the news.
Matt, that whole thing just reminds me of when we were doing Celebrity Big Bother, because when we were doing that show, we had a segment where Capone Adam had to come up with a task. I don't know if I've ever mentioned this to you, Sean.
No, I don't think so.
There was a whole section of the show once a week where Capone Adam had to pitch an idea to us for a task in the house. And I swear to God, from about week 3, every time he pitched it, something along those lines was on the actual show. One of them was a battle against a robot, like a full-size robot. That happened. Yeah. There was one where he said something like, they're spinning around and you've got to just keep chucking gravy at them. And then the first one to fall over loses or something. And then that week they won like a spinny disc thing and they were getting sprayed with gravy. And I'm going, this is insane. Every week he's coming out with ideas and they're using them on the show. It reminds me of what's happening here, because you've got the moving house game. God knows how they developed that within a week and announced it within a week, but well done. You had the Tesco thing. Did you see the Tesco thing?
No, what was the Tesco thing?
I tweeted it from our account this morning. They put out a video. It was like, Yorkshire pudding. Is it tradition to have on a Christmas dinner? If I don't have Yorkshire pudding on my Christmas dinner, then it's not really a Christmas dinner. No, Yorkshire pudding is a Sunday dinner thing. It's not a Christmas dinner thing. And I'm like, someone's listening. Someone's fucking listening. Yep. Know what I mean? Yeah.
Well, also, Laneboy Advance tweeted in saying, moving and packing simulators. There's a lovely looking puzzle game I saw shown off during Melbourne Games Week called Unpacking. More or less what it says on the label, and that's at Unpacking Your Life. Yes, so there's 2 moving simulators. What are we talking about?
There you go. Lead character's called Sean Bell.
Speaking of Christmas, as we briefly did, Chris O'Regan, horrified to hear that David grew up in a household that prevented the opening of presents until after Christmas dinner. For my family, that time was reserved for sleeping off the mountain of food we just ate. Presents at dawn is the way to go.
The thing is, don't feel bad for me. I didn't know better. It was fine. I mean, it was a bit of a shock when I found out that no one does that apart from my family. But at the same time, it wasn't like I was going, all these other kids are opening their present, because I didn't have a fucking clue what was going on in other people's
Are you keeping the tradition on now? Now you've got Harry. What's the deal?
No, God, no. We let him open everything.
If anything, you wake him up at 3 a.m, you go the opposite. It's like,
Yeah.
It's 3 in the morning, go!
He's already opened all of his presents. He's going to be well bummed out.
Yeah, super early.
Yeah, he does keep, he's getting to that age now where there's presents under the tree already from, Joe's friends for him and stuff, and he's just like, can I open it? I'm like, fucking no. You're taking the piss now, boy. Do you do that? Did your family do that one present on Christmas Eve thing?
Yeah.
I can't remember. I know
really.
We used to, if we knew that we'd asked for something like techie, and obviously Mum and Dad couldn't even work it, we'd be like, can we make sure it works first? Because we'd be really gutted.
Oh my god, that is such
I'm just going to test it.
Yeah. So you just get a free evening on it before, usually the week before, something like that. That was always good.
Yeah, that's what a bummer. That's bad, isn't it? That's worse.
No, it's great because you get you just get a bit of time on it. Right, this is fucking brilliant. Right, let's turn it off, put it away.
Yeah, but don't that take some of the buzz away? I remember getting my N64, just getting it out of the box was fucking incredible at 9:30 in the evening.
I did this with a friend and I ruined his Christmas because of this. It was terrible.
I remember you telling me this story. Go on.
Yeah. Well, no, because he got... I already had a Megadrive and he got one for Christmas, but he also got 2 games. These were Street Fighter 2 and Aladdin, which we hadn't played. He found them, and then he found them, I think, in October. And then so every day when we came back from school, we used to get them out the cupboard and we used to take them around my house and play them on my Mega Drive. So by the time it came to Christmas Day and he got his shiny new Mega Drive, he opened it and he had nothing to play on it because he was already bored of it. And I still feel bad about that. I'm sorry, Alex.
That's his fault. I don't think that's on you.
Poor Alex.
I mean, you enabled it, I guess, but... Yeah.
I did, yeah. But
you held him at knife point.
Yeah. We're playing Aladdin, you fucking bastard. What do you guys do a present unboxing day as well?
Nope.
Nah.
Okay, yeah, that's what we do. I know that's what my parents did, and that's what we do about it.
Drag out the joy.
I said that. I mean, I've mentioned this before, but years ago, I'll never forget the Christmas where I was, you sort of have an eye on what your sister and your brother are getting as well, and it was clear that I got the short straw one Christmas, and I'm like, they seem to have got more presents and bigger presents. Okay, I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to stay quiet. Right?
I've done the maths in the Argos catalogue, and this is not working out good for me.
I thought one of the presents under there that's left under there must be for me. Got to the end, I had no more presents, and I was like, right, okay, fine. All right, one of my presents must have been expensive or whatever. In the new year, took all the decorations down, and then rearranged the living room back to how it was, pre-Christmas. And there was a massive fucking present behind the sofa, a huge Sabutio set that they just completely forgot that was there. Falls behind the sofa.
Amazing! Wow.
And then they went, "Oh yeah, this is yours." I was like, "Fucking hell." I mean that little to them.
I can't believe they went in a classic thing of parents talking in hushed tones, hey, has he opened that? Has he got that? They didn't say, has he opened a Sabutio? They're just, whatever. I'm sure that's fine for our son, David.
I'd love it if they were really offended, at a fucking weekend. They're like, cannot fucking believe Dave hasn't even opened his Sabutio set.
He's not even
fucking play with it just once.
We're just going to leave it until he notices.
Have you checked the bin, John, just to make sure that he hasn't just chucked it? Oh no, it's behind the sofa. Yeah.
Shocking. Right. Ethel the Frog has tweeted, long-time listener, etc. I think you guys have sold me on the PSVR. Your enthusiasm and positivity about it has persuaded me to get one, particularly after David's comments in the latest show. Great podcast, always entertaining. Also, SMW, now that the main one's on board, I'm going to have to get Astrobot. This fucked me off, right? So me and I talk about PSVR for, 2 years or something? James talked about it last year. As soon as David gets it, David's got a PSVR, it's fine now, I'm going to get Astrobot. He's
not even bought it. That's the thing. He's just borrowed it for a couple of weeks.
It's legit now. I think Astrobot's good. I'm going to get it because David said so. What the fuck are me and James doing here?
Pathetic, isn't it?
This is something that I've been saying to you guys for ages. You've got to understand that I've been podcasting for a long time. People have been listening to me for a long time. No, you clearly don't.
Well,
why are they listening to him and not me? Well, because I'm more trusted than you. I've been going longer than you. I've got a better reputation. I mean,
the man who says every indie game is the game of the year.
James hates every game unless it's got massive tits in it.
Not true.
And Matt
That's outrageous.
thinks everything's Matt nominated Farpoint for Game of the Year. You know what I mean? You can't be trusted when you say game's really good.
Look, you can't take Matt's, opinions seriously, obviously. But,
right, okay.
Fuck off, James.
But Matt had to actually buy his PSVR. Dave's just turned up at his house.
Yeah, I know. I got to. Well, I will say this again, James. Right, I was going to save it for later when I'm talking about VR games, but I've got to thank you again for this because I'm getting to have some proper time with VR. I wouldn't have been possible without you, and I know you're doing it for dark reasons, but I really appreciate you
for dark reasons.
It to me. No, totally. But seriously, I don't care about any of that. I would like to thank you personally and say I've really appreciated it because I've got to try this stuff out that I've never been able to before. So thank you.
No problem, David. I was hoping that you get a chance to do this because it's you do need time. I feel with this to really
definitely,
get into it. It's
totally.
You can't just do it for half an hour or whatever and then think, I know what VR is. It takes some time. It's good.
You can't just rush things and expect to have the same experience. Right?
Basically, yes.
That's your point.
But also, you can play the same things and have different experiences. How about that?
Interesting.
How about
that? Plan, though, doesn't it?
That comment really fucked me. Oh, we'll get onto it later, I guess. Ashley Day's back in the service station. Keep my eyes peeled for that uniform for the uniform person. Sadly, Ashley Day was there, and there was no uniform person. Therefore, Dave was a liar.
Probably in the toilet.
He's a liar.
In the toilet. Probably in the toilet.
Okay, we'll skip on. It might not be in the toilet. It's just
he's probably in the toilet.
Yeah, he's probably not. Junkyard Gary Disco greatly enjoyed Sean's decision to add the word mate after Dauphinois in the world's worst attempt at sounding laddish.
Right, Gary, earlier today, Gary, you white dad of two, age 35, used the word fam unironically. So fuck off.
Brilliant.
I use that word all the time. But I went back and listened to it. It was funny. Dauphinois, mate. I mean, I liked it. Sean said, "Don't worry about him." Alex D. Feeling sorry for Matt and the Red Dead chat. The only person in the world who's damned when he doesn't finish a game and damned when he does. Tell me about it, Alex. Speaking of which, Aaron.
Alex, I fully understand that. But then he didn't. He was like, "Who's that guy there? The guy that you bring your food to?" I
just forgot his name. Jesus,
I just love it because it's a classic. "Oi, Matt, do this thing." Okay, I've done it. No, not like that.
Exactly.
I was even preparing an audio excerpt of this of you from last week. I was going to play it out. If you just say, "Who's that?" I don't know who that person is. It's not. None of that was any relevance to me. And then David just going, "What are you talking about?" It was amazing, and it proves the point.
Thank God you didn't do that.
Imagine that. It would have been fucking horrendous, James. Aaron at Furry Fruit, fascinated by the Red Dead Redemption 2 discussion on the computer game show, really highlights the difference hanging around in camp and doing all the side stuff can be made to your connection to the other gang members. I'm with Dave. Some of the events of that game were real gut punches. I agree, there were real gut punches. But
just
anyway,
fleeting ones.
There were gut punches, but not all of them. Some characters were gash. Lee Hennigan, this is a late edition, but anyway. Remember when you had Tamor on a few weeks ago?
I do, yeah.
Remember when he strongly advised not looking up how many chapters there are in Red Dead 2 to avoid spoiling the experience?
That made no sense to me. I even after completing it, I don't understand why that would be a problem.
Because when you said it, I did think Tamor told us not to look at this or think about this, but then I don't know. By that chapter, I thought it was quite clear things were wrapping up.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
whatever. And anyway, he goes on. Remember, so he said about about how not look up chapters. Remember last week's show when he not only revealed how many chapters there were, but also how many epilogues follow it. Good times. I'm sorry, Lee.
Okay.
I'm really sorry.
Listen, I'm sorry if we did that. I'm sorry if you found that to be a spoiler. I apologise. I don't believe it's a spoiler, and that's the only... we don't, right? If we believed it was a spoiler, we would have bleeped it out. And that's the only measurement we can give to stuff like that. It's a risky business if you're listening to a podcast talking about a game that you really, really don't want spoiled in any way. That's the only advice I give you. We can only go by our own levels of what we believe is a spoiler and what we don't.
I am genuinely sorry if Phil felt that ruined it. It wasn't my intention. We're just talking about it and these things pop out. So I'm sorry. And that's it for follow-up. You can't leave us follow-up next week. So, but if you want to leave us a message for next year, you can. It's at ComputerGamePod on Twitter, or you can email thecomputergameshow@gmail.com.
It's time for the news. James Farley.
This is the news. There's been a lot of news this week to get through.
Yeah, straight out the traps there. Go on, son.
But we're going to go, to begin with, I'm going to do a Fallout 76 update.
Not
Because
we need a recurring theme for this.
Some stuff has happened. First of all, some good news. The canvas bags have they've been resolved now, this problem. So,
mate, Spoilerbot already announced this last week.
Either way, Bethesda is now manufacturing canvas bags.
Doesn't listen to the show, does he?
And
no, you don't.
Anyone, of course I don't. Anyone who bought the special edition will get one if they register interest by Bethesda by the 31st of January. And
I guarantee none of our listeners are waiting for one.
No, and there's also no news of when they're actually going to be ready.
But there's a twist, isn't there?
The twist is quite funny. So customers are also... No, so I've got a cold. I can't speak properly.
I think just... As long as you don't mind me repeating what you say in a funny voice.
It's absolutely fine. It's
cool.
Like, yeah.
The twist?
Yeah, it's like, the old days when you go into the pub and say, "I've lager," like that, and it sounds terrible.
God.
Anyway, so customers are reporting also that access to other customers' personal data has been occurring.
Oh, God, yeah.
Classic.
So what happened here was that customers were submitting support tickets, to complain about the game, and then they go into their account and then look in the online help system, and they could see other people's support tickets. So these other people's support tickets had details like their names, addresses, email addresses, and in some cases partial credit card numbers as well, which is
fucking hell.
I mean, this has now been fixed, but it's another just thing of buggy.
I mean, could
Bethesda
you imagine
stuff.
working there at the moment?
Oh God, it must
just be just going into work and just going, what? Now,
what's going to happen today?
Why? What have we done now? Oh, half of the we've just shipped a new bunch of Fallout 76 discs, but unfortunately the discs had hardcore pornography in them.
Yeah, I'm waiting for that one.
Oh, for you know what I mean? It's like, I can't imagine what they're going through at the moment. All right, they try to shift a shitty product onto people at full price. And they fuck people over, but at the same time, there's people that are not at fault at that studio now, just with their heads in their hands, just going, "What am I doing?"
No, because the game itself, by all accounts, it isn't great. And actually, some of the most recent patches haven't done an awful lot to fix it. But we've barely heard about the game. It's mostly been all the other stuff.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I've heard a lot about the game.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about the game.
But recent things, it's this, it's the bag stuff.
It's the stuff around it as well. But then that don't help matters, does it? It's just.
I mean, you do wonder if, this stuff would have been blown up quite the way it has if it wasn't for the game being shit as well. I think if the game had been really good, it'd be this bag's turned out to be there's been plenty of special editions that have had shit in them.
Yeah.
That's not been quite as good as people thought. So,
I think revealing customers' details to each other and stuff, that would definitely have been flagged up.
That's
whoever
new.
it was.
I'll give them
that. That's a new bug.
Yeah.
It's not so good. So anyway, next story is that there's a Starbreeze update. So there was this. This is the story we talked about last time. But now this story is interesting because my source has been feeding me more stuff. That's been going on, which is
interesting.
But so this week there's police. Someone has been arrested because they raided. It was the last week Starbreeze were raided by the police because of suspicions. Apparently it's insider trading that was going on. So it was the Swedish Economic Crime Authority took away computers from their headquarters, and a person was arrested. And they also confirmed that they carried out a series of house searches as well, all related to insider trading. And then,
Jesus Christ.
Meanwhile, also they had the Star VR developer thing that's been put on hold now, and apparently, according to the statement they put out, they're in the process of going private. This was their excuse, and they said they're not doing any further development or anything until that's all been resolved. So that's it. That's Starbreeze.
Jesus,
fuck, some weird shit going on.
Next bit is we had the Game Awards. Which happened. Did anyone actually watch this? Because I didn't.
Matt did.
Yeah, I did.
Obviously, Matt did. But
you don't remember any of it based on his stream. But
or when I asked him, did anything happen? And the answer was no. So it's
no. You said what are the huge announcements, and I said, well, Dragon Age and.
Well, I woke up in the morning and thought, okay, it was the Game Awards last night. First thing I'll do is watch the start of Matt's stream. Woke up, watched that. He was absolutely fucking smashed.
I wasn't smashed.
Ranting away.
No,
yes, you were.
I had 6 drinks. So, maybe that is smashed.
Yeah, exactly.
It was a bit emotional.
And then I thought, right, yeah. And then I thought, right, I'll catch up with all the news. And I scrolled down my Twitter feed and I was like, no one really talking about it. What? This is weird. So I looked for a summary on Eurogame and I was like, all right, so nothing really came out of it, did it?
I wouldn't say there's a huge announcement. Yeah, so, I mean, I'm sure James is getting into it now. I mean, no, I mean, we weren't like, obviously we're led to believe in the lead up. I think Worlds Will Change was one of the taglines of the show. You know, there were some moments, but there wasn't anything like...
What was that referring to?
That's pretty ballsy to like claim that that's going to happen and then nothing
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if that was... that can't be referring to the fact that Reggie, Sean Layden and Phil Spencer were on stage together.
I think that was actually. I think because they did make a big deal out of that.
I mean, Jeff had been trying to do it for like 5 years, and it was, I think as I say, it's like the first time they've all been on stage together. It can't be that. So like we're expecting okay, maybe like a new Death Stranding trailer, maybe something really massive we weren't expecting. There was loads of rumours about Metroid Prime trilogy and all sorts on Switch. But there were some announcements, but nothing we were like, oh my god. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, James.
What if next year the tagline's like Half-Life 3 world premiere? And then they just like show it. They're like, no, that was just a tagline. It didn't mean that at all.
Yeah.
I mean, if I was Jeff, I know what I'd be doing. So what did they do on stage? Did they announce, what was it? Some Marvel game that was cross-platform?
Well, I've got a bunch of things here. I mean, do you want to? Because I've got the winners.
Start with that one because we've been talking. There's a nice transition.
Yep.
What was that one?
James, go on.
The Marvel game. I didn't have that.
Yeah, it's Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. It's a Switch exclusive, actually.
Yeah.
So why were the three of them on stage?
That was something. That was something else. That was completely different. That was a separate thing.
Okay, right.
There was
why
no
were the three of them on
announcement.
stage? What were the three of them on stage for? What happened?
Just to all say we're all in this together. We're all about games, about the gamers. That was it.
We're really happy that everyone's spending loads of money on our companies. That's basically what they were there.
I did see. All I saw was a screenshot of that, and what was it? Phil Spencer just looked like fucking awkward. Like Nintendo and Sony had just had a massive row backstage, and he walked out with them, like standing in between them, just like going, "Oh, I don't want to be here anymore. This was a bad idea." Yeah, whatever. Okay, what else got announced?
Okay, do you want to go through the winners, or do you not care?
No,
I mean, to be honest,
we
go for the big ones.
If you look at the list, about a third of them are esports related anyway.
Here's what confused me, right? I will say this about the awards. So the winner of best game was God of War.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Game of the Year. Yeah,
was Red Dead nominated?
It was,
yeah, because it was right. Okay, fine. No, the only reason why I'm saying that, I'm not like it's all bollocks anyway. But when I saw that Red Dead had won best voice acting,
it won like 5 or 6 awards. It won shitloads, yeah.
Right, okay, but I saw that it won one award, and I thought, oh, did it win Game of the Year? And then I went to find the nominations, and I couldn't see it on the list. So I was like, okay, this is strange,
it was nominated,
but whatever.
But it didn't win. I mean, it won so many other awards. When that came up, when the last awards of the night came up, and it was Game of the Year, we're like, well, this is Red Dead because it's won everything else. It's pretty much been nominated in, but it wasn't, which it was a surprise, but a good surprise.
No, that's the classic. When you go to award ceremonies, there's the classic. Like if they just did Red Dead, everyone would be like, well, of course. But they were like, we didn't give it to Red Dead. Well, you probably should have, really. More of that later. More of that next week. Go on.
So with the Game of the Year, which was God of War, but then with the best ongoing game was Fortnite, and the best game direction was God of War, narrative, Red Dead Redemption. I mean, I'm not going to go through this entire list because it's ridiculous, but you got the
best esports one, Rocket League wasn't nominated, was it?
No, that was Overwatch.
Fucking hell.
And then you've also got the best independent game, which was Celeste. And best VR game was Astrobot. And then just a breakdown of just tons and tons of esports categories, including best esports coach. And I got to that part of the list, I'd run out of will. It's just
best
terrible.
esports coach.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Oh, but the content creator of the year was Ninja. How do you feel about that, Matt?
I mean, he's been like the poster child for streaming this year, even if
you weren't even nominated, Matt. How do you feel? Weren't even nominated.
People in the chat were saying, why isn't Farley nominated? So I think that's a bigger misjustice.
That's a bigger diss.
That's a bigger diss.
Matt, just grow your hair back, dye it a weird colour, and then refuse to speak to women.
If I could do the first one, I'll be all over the moon. But
so will I. Anyway, so a couple of these are some of the major announcements that came out of it. There's the Last Campfire, which was a new Hello Games.
So this is probably my favourite announcement, and this is just made by just 2 people from the studio. They called it a Hello Games short.
Yeah, this is like a thing they're doing now, isn't it? I think where probably to stop people going mad from just working on No Man's Sky for the rest of their lives, they're now just like letting people in the team just do something else for a bit.
These 2 probably won Employee of the Month 2 years and a couple of months. So you 2 get the chance to do another game.
The people that are doing it.
Why can't they just stop working on No Man's Sky? It seems silly to me why they can't just go, okay, we're done with that now.
Because they got a massive rabid audience.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, it's like everyone's pretty much happy with it now. I think, like in terms of the fan base. But they're not spending any more money on it, though, well, no,
are they?
I was going to say, maybe like every time they launch an update, it's still getting new people in. I don't know.
They can't be.
There's a lot of goodwill towards the game now. I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah. But yeah, you're right. There's no in-game transactions. You don't pay for DLC. So, but I don't know.
I thought they'd also kind of said that there wasn't going to be any major more updates with it now.
Well, no. I mean, since I said that, there's been 2 big ones. So.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
And honestly, it's those updates that are keeping everyone engaged and exciting the audience. And I think even the last one launched like 2 or 3 weeks ago.
I just don't see the fucking point if you're not making any money out of it. Weird.
I mean, it's possible. They just don't need to because it made so much to begin with, and they've kept such a small team.
That.
They did release it on Xbox as well, didn't they? Is it coming out on PC? Yeah.
Yeah, it was out on PC from day one, I think. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, it was, wasn't it? Yeah. I'm stupid. Okay. So anyway, The Last Campfire is like it's an adventure game, and it's been created by the same people that did Lost Winds at Frontier. Did any of you played that? Because I did, and it was quite good.
Yeah, I played the first one on the Wii. Yeah.
I played it on mobile before mobile fell apart, and it was it was good. It was quite good. But yeah, I mean, Dave, have you seen the trailer for this?
I have. Yeah, I mean, okay.
I think it's fine. Yeah,
nothing else to add.
It did absolutely nothing.
It looks a lot like The Flame in the Flood crossed with Journey. So
you had a bit of Journey about it.
Yeah,
don't know the other game that you mentioned. But
people mentioned Flame and Flood in the chat, saying it's a Flame and Flood sequel. And, yeah.
I mean, it might be good. I can't, I'm not saying that it looked bad because it didn't look bad. The trailer did fuck all for me. I watched it and I was like, okay, fine.
Okay. The next.
Sorry.
Yeah, all right.
First chips and now this.
Yeah,
you just hate everything.
What next?
So the next sort of big sort of thing that came out was Obsidian's game, which was The Outer World, which. Yeah, I mean, it's a first-person RPG, like, set in space.
I am bang up for this, because it looks like an actual spiritual successor to Fallout.
Yeah, it's the co-creators of the original
exactly.
Fallout.
I mean, is it just me, or did it feel like a dig that the trailer started with? The original creators of Fallout and Fallout New Vegas. Might as well have put brackets, which everyone agrees was like the best recent one.
Brackets, not Fallout 76.
Yeah.
We can get Canvas.
Canvas bag of every game.
Obviously, the trailer tries to be funny. I know a lot of people who that didn't work for. I thought it was pretty amusing. Have you seen any footage of the game itself? It looks a little bit ropey. Just weird little things like you walking around town and talking to people and your gun's just pointing forwards the entire time. It's little things like that where you're just like, okay, this isn't finished. But yeah, it seems like good fun. It's like some interesting writing. It's got the Fallout thing of like your stats actually affect what dialogue options you can pick. Like you can have a low intelligence and that gives you access to like really stupid dialogue options where like people are obviously lying to you and then you like turning to your colleagues going like, oh, this guy says everything's fine, so I guess everything's fine and we can leave and stuff like that. It's just, looks pretty good.
Yeah, and it's out on all platforms, isn't it? It's not just on Microsoft Phone now, but it's out on PS4 and.
Well, that's what I was going to say. That's the most interesting thing about this is that it's out on everything, and it's Microsoft Studio.
It's because it's been published though by Private Division, which is like apparently it's like an indie focused label from Take-Two. Okay. So that's
this is it. I mean, I think what the deal is here is that they'd obviously said that anything that they were working on will go ahead as planned, but then anything after that. Yeah. Which then does make you wonder how much sort of end product, like how much they're putting in after they've been bought out by Microsoft. You know
That's
what I mean?
true. Yeah, they're just going to churn this out, and it's like, there you go, no DLC, nothing. Like we work for
we
Microsoft now.
And go straight to the thing. Yeah,
yeah. I don't know. I don't think there would be that.
No, they don't want to taint their name. There's a fucking balance in that, though.
But yeah, I've got a lot of time for Obsidian, so I'm excited.
Yeah, cool. That's good. I mean, yeah, the Knights of the Old Republic 2 was great. I enjoyed that, even though it wasn't finished.
Yeah.
There's a new Dragon Age game coming from Bioware.
Hooray!
Okay.
No
you
time
like
frame
Dragon Age, don't you?
I do. Sure. I mean, I fucking seen people on Twitter talking about, like, it was literally like basically one image, wasn't it, and a bit of dialogue. It was like a really short teaser. And, like, people have been analysing the fuck out of it, and it's like, oh, I thought I knew about Dragon Age, but apparently I don't. Because everyone's like, oh, this is a reference to this, and this character, and this thing that happened, and this that's from this book. Nah, not doing that.
See, that's what happened when I started looking at this story, and I was thinking, see, normally I'd make like some like bullet points for each one, and then I started reading that, and I was like, no, I'm not doing that for this. This is insane. I'm not going to read all this out. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, but no, I'm excited. I mean, I'm more just happy that like BioWare are still doing story-focused single-player games. I thought that was basically like, look, Mass Effect didn't do as well as we expected. We're making Anthem now. That's what BioWare does now. So I'm happy to see that this is in the works. Yeah.
Good.
Okay, there's also a new Far Cry game coming, which is Far Cry New Dawn. And this is
what is this about? Weird one. No one knows. Is it in full title or is it DLC?
No, this is the thing, right? So it's coming in February, so really soon. And apparently it's going to be a similar kind of small-scale thing to like Blood Dragon. You know,
so standalone, but cheap.
Yeah, so it's like set 17 years. Well, yeah, it's 17 years after Far Cry 5, and it's like the whole post-apocalyptic, nuclear wasteland kind of stuff. And
yeah, trailer looks fine. It looks sort of, it's like I mean, we've got Rage 2, we've got this. I was really uninspired for it. It's just like, it's another one of these.
It's like post-apocalyptic stuff it's really played out now, isn't it? It's like if there ought to be zombies as well, then they'd have the full set. It's just Anyway, the Stanley Parable is coming to consoles. I thought,
I never played this, so I'm quite interested. in this.
You'll enjoy it. It's really good.
I've played it. Yeah, I mean it's all right, but it's I don't know. I mean, it is good, but it's like, okay, you play it a couple of times.
It is kind of like clever for clever's sake and doesn't necessarily have any answers for any of the questions it poses, but it is just an interesting game to play and think about.
Yeah, no, it's definitely that. Yeah. Definitely that. But, I mean, classing it, I don't know. I did a few of the endings in that game, and then I didn't feel compelled to do any more, and I looked the rest up.
Is it a short game that
it was about £3 on Mac?
Is it a game that they want? It's a short game and you blitz through it to get multiple endings? Is that the sort of game it is?
Yeah.
How long is the game?
I don't know how many hours I've spent on it. I mean,
it depends. Well, yeah. I mean, it depends what ending you get. I mean, you could finish it within like 5 minutes or whatever, can't you?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
But there's literally like 24 endings, I think, maybe more than that.
I think I got the main ending first, and then that's what put me off a little bit. Okay. The one where you end up in the room of tellies.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's.
Is that a spoiler?
I don't know if there is any consensus on what the proper ending is. It's worth doing because it's the process you go through in sort of either deciding to break it or go with it or what have you. It's interesting.
Cool. What next, James?
Okay, so that was the Game Awards, and then we had like about 2 days later there was the Kind of Funny Game Showcase, which again Matt was keen for us to stream, but we didn't. And they had a whole. I mean, again, I asked Matt if there was anything interesting. He said there wasn't. And then Sean said
the question was, were there any big announcements? And I said no. There's a few things, but there's nothing that jumped out for sure.
Well, either way, Sean stepped up and he explained that there was a bunch of like indie games that were worth looking at. So, I mean, these are the ones we got. There's Super Meat Boy Forever is coming. That looks all right. There's Moving Out, which was that game that you were mentioning about, moving house and stuff, which looks okay. Yeah. And Tojo and Earl, Back in the Groove.
Was this an announcement? I didn't know if this was already in. I didn't know if we already knew about this.
Yeah, I'm sure, didn't they announce a Toe Jam and Earl on the Microsoft stage not too long ago?
Maybe,
I thought
don't
so.
remember. But there was footage and stuff and a funny little skit about being 8-bit and then being high def again.
I thought they were ironic characters, like people like them ironically. Was that not the case? People genuinely thought they were
also
fun?
16-bit, not 8-bit.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah.
Ooh, that's the most angry I've heard. Jesus.
But no, like the original is a fucking weird game. Like it is.
It is weird, and I appreciated it for being weird, but it's not something that I'm crying out to play in 2018.
Yeah.
There's always a market somewhere, isn't there, for stuff like that? You know?
There is. It's usually James's house, right?
There was Conan on Concord, and I mean the reason this was interesting is because it's by the same people that are doing the Command & Conquer remake.
Oh,
and so but I wasn't entirely sure. I mean, is this like a real-time strategy thing, or is it
wasn't clear from the trailer, was it? It was.
It wasn't. No, it was just a CGI trailer. So don't really know what that was.
So probably yes, then, because they're the ones that like way overused CGI trailers. Those things.
Human Fall Flat is getting DLC. I mean, you played that, didn't you, Dave? Was it?
I did. Yeah, I liked it. I thought there are better ways to spend your time, but I still enjoyed it enough to. I mean, I like what they're doing with that game. There's more stuff, way more stuff added than when I played it. But more importantly, like the multiplayer stuff seems really important now. Mm-hmm. Like before, it was just 2 of you in a level, and that was kind of it. But I think it's up to 4 players now, and it looks like you can do some really funny stuff. Like they were showing it at EGX this year, 4 screens playing Human Fall Flat. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I mean, it's okay. I wasn't bowled over by it, but it was alright.
Okay, and also there was another one called Vane. This is about a kid that becomes a bird. I thought this looked quite good. It reminded me of Rhyme for some reason. But
it's definitely got a sort of washed out graphical feel. Yeah, it looked
nice,
a
bit of a sort of eco Shadow of the Colossus vibe as well. That's
right.
Right.
And then there was Bury Me My Love, which was about Syrian refugees, which also looked interesting.
Yeah, this looks really cool. I think it's already out on other platforms apparently, which I didn't know. That's how much attention I've been paying. But I'm really intrigued by this.
Was there anything else? Because there was Fold Apart, which I thought looked all right.
Desert Child looks really cool. There's the intro sequence to it was a massive Cowboy Bebop rip-off stroke homage. But the game looks really cool. It's about like flying around on like rocket bikes and racing and beating people up. So that looked really cool. But I was really impressed by this in general. Like I mean, Matt, I know you're a big fan of the Kind of Funny guys, aren't you? I'd take them or leave them. Not really fussed, but I felt like the pacing of this was basically spot on. Like it wasn't like they would do like a bunch of trailers and then they would do just a bit of them talking, but it wasn't like, as someone who's not particularly a fan, those bits didn't outstay their welcome at all. It was.
Yeah, I thought the pace was good. And even the run-up, they were sort of publicly saying, obviously they've got a chance now to do their own conference, so that this is all the years they've been commenting on other ones like E3 and stuff, where they've like slagged off the pacing. Now they've got an opportunity to fix it, and I think you're right. I think they nailed the pacing. Even the little bits, which the in between bits were fine. I mean, they didn't really do much for me, but they weren't long, which is the main thing.
Was it better than the Game Awards? Do you think?
I mean, it's a lot shorter, and it's totally different. You can't really compare.
Did they have any whooping? Like going on?
There's no audience.
It was basically just Nintendo Direct. So there was like trailers or like very quick bits where it's just them two to camera. It wasn't a big live studio audience thing. It's basically Nintendo Direct.
So it wasn't all like sycophantic crowds and all that kind
of
thing.
No, there was no crowds. It's just Tim and Greg and then trailers and
So there wasn't any cheering.
Nope. Zero cheering.
I'm up for that then. Any people just talking throughout it? How many times did you have to ask that question, James?
I just enjoy asking that question, Dave. It's important to me.
Right, go on.
But I just thought, they're quite happy for this to become a regular thing if that's their aim with it.
It'd be interesting if it does, because obviously this came out with the fact there was no PSX. But I mean, I thought it was amazing considering it had 2 or 3 months to put it on. They'd never done it before. I think it's had loads of great press. So yeah, I mean, it'd be great to have like a smaller indie focused conference. I mean, I imagine obviously in a perfect world they would have had massive announcements, but that was obviously just the caliber of developer and sort of publisher they got the opportunity to do, but maybe a console focused event that's focused around the indies would be great when other people maybe aren't doing that as much.
Yeah, because it always seems like a dice roll with like, you know, with E3 and stuff, like whether the big three decide to do a bit about indie games. Like sometimes it's like, well, we'll show one, or sometimes we'll do a showcase, and it's like a whole sort of 5-minute bit where it's just like shitloads of indie games. And
I was going to say, but even a 5-minute bit is like it's a montage which is so quick you barely know what's happening. These guys gave them the time of day, you know. Yeah. There's also like sorry, James, go on.
I was going to say, but like the Game Awards didn't have that much like really big stuff either. Because I mean, we were talking about the other day. This really feels like the end of a cycle, doesn't it? Like where it's winding down, like all this stuff. There's not anything massive that's going to come in like the next year or so, probably, apart from new consoles.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Yeah.
Okay, I killed that.
Yeah, James, I don't know why you killed that. I mean, it was a very valid opinion, and I agree with it. I don't know why. Yeah, what happened there? Sorry. Not your fault, James, is what I'm saying there.
But yeah, James, there weren't any huge announcements of the game, was for sure.
I mean, the kind of funny one, they did get a couple of, or maybe it was just the one, like, oh, by the way, this is out now, where they did Quarantine Circular, which is...
and also like, I mean, there's a couple of others, but also they mentioned like Messenger DLC, which I think loads of people were raving about the Messenger. And there's like some other like sort of kind of funny DLC in Guacamelee 2. You can be like Portillo the dog and this and that. But
it's good.
I was really impressed.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on from the conferences, Epic Games has now started its own store, which is going to take a smaller cut than Steam. So this is the digital storefront. It's coming to Mac and Windows, and then it's going to come to Android and other stuff in 2019. So the difference with Steam, though, is that the games are going to be curated to to a much greater extent than they are on Steam, and also any Epic games are going to launch exclusively through it, and they're not going to have like DRM. And the difference also is that the developers are apparently going to get 88% of the revenue. So Epic takes 12%, but then if you're using the Unreal Engine to make your game, then Epic will cover 5% of the engine royalty, and they'll take that out of the 12% that they would have taken. So, yeah, I mean, Tim Sweeney said the whole point of this was that he thought that the 70-30% switch, deal that developers get is kind of outdated now and not really fair, and that's why they're going for this. But I mean, this doesn't affect me. But what do you think, Sean?
I gather Epic don't have the best track record for customer satisfaction, but also I gather they help a lot of developers get the games made, and also I think
if they got a good idea, they'll fucking have it for themselves.
And I think basically any like viable competition for Steam at this point can only be a healthy thing, because Steam is just kind of...
Everyone's got their own launcher now. I mean, we've got EA Origin, we've got Ubisoft Store, we've got Epic Games now.
No, he's saying any healthy alternative. I mean,
there's Bethesda. Bethesda have done the same. Oh yeah, they've done. It's not so good.
I'm not being funny, right? When you think of gaming on PC, it's Steam, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's Steam.
Yeah.
And if Epic managed to pull this around, then competition's good. So it'd be good for the consumer.
Exactly.
This takes
Steam
off.
has really sort of because they've just gone like, tell you what, we'll just let anything on Steam now forever, and it's like there's been like more games in the last year than the entire time Steam has been in existence, and it's mostly like just shit. Just really bad, like, tit games and stuff that just...
Is there such a thing?
Oh, I see, yeah.
Is there such a thing as a bad tit game? Yeah, I'm going there.
But basically, a lot of the big releases have been on other launches. So obviously, like, Call of Duty Black Ops, that was obviously on EA's launcher, the biggest Assassin's Creed game, that was on Ubisoft's launcher, So a lot of the big games, the companies are thinking, why are we putting on Steam? We could just create our own launcher with our own games. I mean, like Discord has now got its own storefront. Humble Bundle's obviously got his own thing, their own thing, so everyone's taking games where they can.
Yeah, it's weird, like, because I think Steam did so well out of the whole, they had these really shocking sales where all the games are 60p or whatever, and that, like, really put them on the map. Like, even on top, like, okay, so obviously everyone installed Steam because they needed to play Half-Life 2 and a bunch of other things, but, like, the sales really became, like, such a phenomenon. But I think everyone's just a bit exhausted with that stuff now because you just end
everyone's
up
got
like
1,000 games which
exactly
they
that
bought 50p.
you'll never play. Yeah, so
and also there's loads of sales. There's obviously the big summer one and a Christmas one, but there's so many sales on that people I think often think I'll have to wait for the next sale, which isn't far down the line.
Exactly. Yeah, it's got to the point where if I miss a sale, it's like, well, they'll a month.
Well, I'll just
pass.
take the Tuesday sale then. I'll get it in the Tuesday sale.
I mean, I don't know how like things are working out for like Humble Bundle as well, because I know they have like the Humble monthly thing where you just you pay a subscription, you get some free games. Again, that I like it. You get a brilliant selection of stuff, but it just seems like it's more than I would ever play. So I just can't bring myself to bother really.
Yeah, I bought Humble Bundle in ages. I mean, there was like, I'm not sure when, maybe like 2 or 3 years ago, I was like, oh, that looks good. And there's like 2 or 3 months in a row where the Humble Bundles were brilliant, but now I haven't bothered because, as we covered last week, I've probably got multiple copies of multiple games in my Steam library. Yeah. But obviously, like this whole thing about the revenue split, that was basically why Valve changed their revenue split last week. They must have heard about this. And that's why they quickly made a change saying, if you sell over 1 million copies, the revenue split changes slightly. If you sell over 5 or 10 million, it changes again.
Hang on. Weren't people not happy about this as well? Because it's basically favouring the bigger developers. And like, that's not so good for smaller companies.
Well, yeah, I mean, in terms of the Steam stuff, yeah, definitely. Whereas this, it's 88% of revenue regardless of whether you sell 1 million or not. So this is obviously better. But yeah, the Steam stuff, some people were kicking up a fuss because it only really benefits, the 5 or 6, 8 companies or whatever that are going to sell 1 million plus. So that's not going to help the smaller ones. Whereas this is obviously a huge incentive to maybe move your game over to Unreal Engine if you're not on it already, but also definitely say, yeah, we'll sell it on the Epic Store. We get 88% of revenue. Why wouldn't we?
The fact they've got the technology must be like a massive advantage as well, because I mean that's what Steam used to have, wasn't it? Like Valve had all that stuff that now people don't. Yeah, people still use their tools so much.
I was going to say I don't think they've built an engine in fucking a decade, so I don't think probably longer than that. Yeah, because I think basically it was the Source engine, because that's what like Counter-Strike Go works on and stuff. Which they've just added Battle Royale to.
I saw that. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think they've really kept up on that front. I don't think they make games anymore or engines. No, I think they run a shop.
Right.
Okay, the next thing. So there was the PlayStation Classic, which has been like everyone's kind of had a go at. Because apparently the emulation is really bad. I mean, the machine's been criticised for having because it's got like the PAL 50 Hz versions for like 9 out of the 20 games on it.
Yeah,
and like running at 50 Hz, which isn't great.
Part of me gets like a little bit gets my back up a little bit when you're hearing Americans like talk about this. We got the shitty English version. I'm like, all right, mate, all right, chill out.
But even back when I was reading magazines when I was a kid, everyone's like, "Oh, I wish it was a 60 Hz. We're getting a 50 Hz one." Even back then, so. And we had to deal with it. So for the people who didn't have to deal with that, and now they're getting it, it must be alright kicking the balls.
As also, because they said also the other thing with it is that what they try to do is they display the 50 Hz image through the 60 Hz output, which makes it all even more juddery and sort of like pronounced than it was before, so that's not good. And there's a load of issues with sound on a lot of the games. So it's just the whole thing seems really half-assed, and nobody seems very happy with it.
But then there's other thing. You've heard about the fact if you put in like a certain like Razer keyboard and press escape, you then get access.
I heard it weren't even a certain Razer keyboard. It was just any USB keyboard. And hit escape.
It's one like the Digital Foundry guy saying I've tested on loads of keyboards and most don't work, but some do. So at the time it felt weird. Okay. And then if you basically got access to a menu to allow people to change it to 60 Hz games, and then someone else somehow found like another like 20 or 30 games that were also on the system.
There was it was the list of all like the ROMs that were supposedly going to be on it, and it had all the stuff like Tomb Raider and that everyone said they wanted in the first place, but they didn't put them there. But I mean that doesn't mean they were ever definitely coming. That just means it was a ROM list that they had. It's just, but then also, I mean, the whole thing with the 50 Hz thing, I just don't understand why they would do that.
We don't, because we had to live with it, so we don't. Imagine it was the other way around.
No, what you're saying, he doesn't understand why they would have done that in the first place.
Yeah,
I mean, there's literally no reason why they would activate the shitter version of the game.
Yeah, I mean, some people have thought, well, maybe it's about a hardware issue. Maybe they didn't want to give whatever this little machine is a bit more of a boost to successfully.
But they're saying that the hardware could easily handle the 60 Hz, right?
Yeah. because it does in some of the games. It's like, I mean, but also the emulator it's using is like it's a off the shelf.
It's a
freeware
well-known
one, isn't
one,
it? It's like it's like a like an open source one, which is also odd because you'd think. I mean, I'm sure that that feels a bit shitty, like that they haven't bothered to like develop their own stuff. They've just like taken that.
Well, I mean, if it's there and they can use it, they might as well.
It's crazy.
I thought
this would be like such. I thought this was such a done deal. Everyone will love it, but it feels like they've really dropped the ball with this thing. It's crazy.
Yeah, because the initial list, you remember when we talked about it on stage, it was like, the initial list didn't look bad. It looked kind of okay.
Fine, yeah. But everything since then seems to be not great.
Yeah. No one likes it.
And no one, I guess, is interested in getting one of these for Christmas, right?
Nope.
No.
Okay, final piece of news is The Walking Dead final season has got a release date. So this is actually
this was announced, wasn't it, at the kind of funny thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's nailed down now. So it's the 15th of January 2019, and
That's pretty soon.
Also, all the other games are returned to storefronts as well now. Apart from on PC, which they're still having trouble with. But on all the other platforms they've returned. So that's good. So it looks like there is going to be an ending, happy or not, for it, which is good.
Cool. Oh, that's good.
And that's it.
Cool, that's it. Right. Okay, shall we do what you've been playing this week, and then we'll do what you've been playing, then we'll do the draft, then we'll do the emails and tweets, and then get out of it.
Right.
Okay, so who should we start with? Let's start with Matt Murray.
Me?
No, the other Matt Murray.
Sorry, it just cut out for a second there. So I'm still catching up on other games. I'm still playing Return of the Obra Dinn. I'm still getting sort of frustrated. I'm so shit at the game, but I'll carry on. I'm enjoying it.
Are you enjoying it? It really doesn't sound like you're enjoying it.
No, I think pushing through.
It sounds like. Can I just say? It sounds like you're. Hold on. It sounds like you respect it for what it's doing, and you think the art style's great and everything. It sounds like you respect the game, but you're really not enjoying it.
It sounds to me like he's saying he's enjoying it because he knows that everyone will crucify him if he says...
No, I don't think it's that.
None of you have even played it. It's all good.
Have you never... No, hold on. Have you never... James, you've never been in that situation where you can go, oh, I can see why people really enjoy this.
Yeah, sure.
But I'm just not enjoying it. That's the vibe I'm getting from Matt. How close am I, Matt?
Yeah, no, you're definitely close. I'm not desperate to play this every single day, mostly because right now I've hit a bit of a wall, and I think the clues for me and my level of intelligence aren't clear enough. So I'm not like, well, if I do this, I'll do that. I'll do this and do that. Right now, I'm like, I've got, I think I may have solved 12 now, so I've got like 48 members of, 48 people on this boat. I've solved like one or two clues for a lot of them. I don't know where to go next, so I'm definitely getting frustrated. I played a bit before the pod, and I solved another one, but I don't know. I'll keep pushing through because I do want to see more of the story, but I'm hardly desperate to get back to it, sadly.
See, I think that's interesting because you hear people all I've heard are people gushing about it. And that sort of says to me, well, it's not quite for everyone then, is it?
I mean, honestly, it just makes me feel super stupid. Maybe I'm not thinking about it in the right way, and I know there's loads of different ways you can find out who someone is, even like the clothes they're wearing, where they were on board, obviously things like accents, names, etc., but I don't know. And it's just, as I said last week, it's just a bit annoying having to like physically move to the various memories on the boat to see someone's story. If I could just press play and like find a person and see all the cutscenes that person was involved in, it might be a bit easier to find out the story, work out who this person is, what role they played, etc. But so it's a bit like I've got to walk up here, got to find this, got to do that. But I don't know. I think it's just me being stupid. I'll push on, but I'm hardly desperate for it. Yes.
Do you reckon it could just be because you're not in the right mood for this kind of game at the moment?
Possibly. I haven't really been playing it like that much, and like when I get to it, I'm like, okay, so what do I do now? Maybe if I had like a longer session, but I'm just not desperate to return to. I'm not thinking about it all day to play it, which I thought was in the first like day or so. But now I'm like, oh, well, and also I guess I'm like forgetting things. So maybe after a previous play session, I might think, okay, that guy is definitely this guy, or he, is in his area. By the time I get back to it next time, maybe I haven't written down the notes. I've forgotten who that person is. I'm like, okay, let's start again. And I'll just go on the boat and say, do I know that person? And I don't know. And regardless, I'll try and push through. But because I thought, okay, this could be like, I've heard a lot of people say Game of the Year contender. It obviously got an amazing review of Eurogamer. That's why I was so desperate to try it and play it. I think it's mostly down to me, not the game, but that's where we are with that one.
All right, fair enough.
I also played Beat Saber for the first time this week.
Oh, yeah.
This is What's that, Dave?
Looks good. I said right.
Yeah.
Looks good.
Yeah, this is on PSVR, but it's been on Oculus and Vive for a while. Or I think it might come out this year, but regardless. So Beat Saber is a music. It's like a rhythm action music game where you, with your two Move controllers, they act as lightsabers, and these color blocks come down the channel towards you, and you have to slice them. In time and a beat. On each of these blocks that come through, they're either red or blue. Red is typically on your left-hand side. Blue blocks are typically on your right-hand side. There's an arrow pointer on every block to designate which way you need to swipe. So up arrow, you swipe from the bottom up, etc., etc. That's pretty much it. But I will say that this is a game that I haven't sweated playing a PSVR game since like Super Hot VR. After just like 15 or 20 minutes of this, I've got like sweat driven down my head because I'm moving all over the shop. And I will say, I've played a lot of PSVR games, and I basically don't really care what I look like, but I know for a fact this is definitely the most stupid I look like when I'm playing a VR game. James, have you even worried in the past
even more
about...
than Super Hot?
Definitely more Super Hot, yeah. If James, I know you're like quite concerned about Chen, like, videoing you, etc. Well, when you play this is the one where she's really good, die laughing basically, because obviously on screen you're playing with two lightsabers. That feels pretty cool actually, as a fan of Star Wars. But you do get into the music, you start sort of moving your legs when you don't really need to. You do sort of like start moving your body in time to music, but you're also basically doing the Star Wars kid movements. You're swinging your wrists. You're smashing blocks, maybe harder than you need to because it feels good.
James, I had my first moment like that last night.
Yeah.
Where I was playing on the PSVR, and I walked in. Like I always have to turn the heating off before I go to bed. So I went to turn the heating off. It was already off. I thought, no. I got into bed, and Jo went, I turned the heating off. I went, yeah, I saw. When did you do that? She said, boy, I asked you to do it, but then I looked around the corner and you had your headset on. And I was like, oh no, that's really bad. And not only that, I've just remembered now that last night I was playing Wipeout and pretending that I was a proper Wipeout racer, and I waved to the crowd as I was about to start the race, and I just thought, oh god, what if she walks in on that bit? Just waving at them.
Yeah, I've done that. I waved to a little robot in Astrobot, more than one occasion.
I've done that. So yeah.
But when you guys play Beat Saber, I know I look ridiculously embarrassing, but also who cares? It's amazing fun. It's got really hard. I've just been playing the campaign mode, and there's like these. There's multiple routes through this campaign. It might go like you're on number 9, you complete number 9, then there's like 9A, 9B. Every level, every sort of like track you do has a different modifier. So some might say that this song is faster or slower. Some might say you've got to do it and with less than 5 misses where you completely miss a block. Some might say you have got to do it less than 5 bad hits. Cause there is like a perfect angle. If you slice the block right in the middle, we get maximum points, but there's also the correct angle to enter the block and exit the block and so on and so forth. There's also ones now I'm getting onto tracks where the modifiers are that the arrows disappear. So you see like quite far down the lane or the channel, whatever you're going to call it, and you see the blocks appearing and then you might see an up arrow, but by the time they get to you, that arrow's gone. So then you basically got to play almost like what feels like 2 games at once. You've got to like see the block at the end, remember it's an up arrow, whilst then obviously hitting the blocks that are right next to you. So those I'm finding quite tricky. Although what the game does really well, I think, actually is it does sort of go. It has a really nice flow. Like often, if you've got an up arrow and with another block right next to it, that will almost certainly be a down arrow. It doesn't try and like screw you over by doing 2 ups. It tries to have a nice flow. So there's been a lot of these tracks where it's got a modifier, the things disappear. And sometimes you might just be in a flow and you think, okay, this is probably going up and down, that's the right and left. And for a few tracks, I have that done pretty well just because I've anticipated what the flow of this track is going to be. But yeah, I really want you 3 to play it because, I know you, Dave, are obviously massively into Guitar Hero. So I was like, who have been to like these music rhythm games to see us in VR. I think it'd be really interesting to see what you guys think of it. But no, I've really enjoyed it so far. Like I said, I'm thinking I'm on number 11 or 12 in the campaign, and there have been some tricky moments, but it's just worth it because it just feels really, really good to be smashing his blocks. When they come towards you. But yeah, I think as a music game, I think it works really, really well in VR. It probably didn't have to.
It's not licensed tracks, is it?
I don't recognise any of the tracks. They're all in your classic sort of EDM phase. So, and I've listened to a bit of Skrillex and stuff, but I haven't recognised any tracks thus far. But maybe if you're really into that, you might recognise these tracks. But I've enjoyed what I've listened to for sure. The joy of it is on the PC at least is that you can import any track to it. They've said for PSVR that they're announcing more DLC packs, which are going to bring a lot of the more popular tracks from the PC version into PSVR. But obviously, you're not going to get that thing on PC where you can import any track.
Oh God, imagine though, because it's got the PS4 runs Spotify, doesn't it?
Oh yeah. It would be amazing to get other tracks in there for sure. And like I said, I'm only on like 11, 12 or 13 in the campaign, but I've already played the same song multiple times, be that a faster one, be that with more notes in the same track. So I haven't got annoyed with the track list yet, although I don't know how limited it really is. But yeah, and the more advanced the tracks get, I'm enjoying them because you have to hit many more blocks, and that's just really fun. But I'm also finding myself struggling a bit more because they're much more complex. But yeah, Sean, I know you said you were quite excited about Beat Saber if you get a PSVR for Christmas. So I'll be excited to see what you say about it.
Very excited about giving this a go. Yeah, it looks wicked.
Yeah,
but it's one of those you see videos and you're like, oh, it looks beautiful, but in reality, like, me having a go will probably be a lot more clumsy to begin with. But yeah, no, I'm very keen.
Yeah, I mean, I think Beat Saber video appeared in my sort of Twitter timeline the other day, and it's just crazy what the expert players can do. I mean, a lot of tracks I'm still doing in the campaign are still normal.
Yeah.
They may be like normal fast or more normal slow, but I haven't gone across that above that yet. But some of the expert tracks are just crazy. And I'm sure it's probably just a memory thing more than anything else. But it's quite insane. But yeah, I think all three of you would really like it, and it is just sort of cool to wave these lightsabers around. But yeah, that's mostly what I've been playing this week. I've just been after playing some other games or not anything at all. I'll say I'll play a bit of Beat Saber, and then suddenly it's way too late and I'm having to stop again. But yeah, brilliant fun.
Cool.
Well, sticking on a VR trend, then I've been playing more Astro Bot.
Yeah.
I've been playing other things as well, so I haven't played as much as I'd hoped. And also, I'm finding it very tricky to play because Harry's obsessed with watching it and giving it a go. He plays like the first sort of levels and stuff. I just setting everything up and sitting down. It feels like I need to be in the right mood to try VR. To be honest with you, It's not something I could just sling on.
But in terms of setting up, I mean, surely, I mean, for me, I mean, if I play my PS4 a lot and I want HDR, for me, I'm having to switch the box and stuff. But generally, I just keep it all plugged in and put in my TV cabinet. And when I get the headset out, I just literally plug the headset in and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, the setup's pretty easy. I just put the camera on the table and then I just sit back. But it's that whole process of putting the hat on and I call it hat.
It does feel like more bother, doesn't it? It does feel more bothered to do. And it's and it also actually being involved in VR, I just feel is more sort of draining, an experience.
Oh god, it's totally
it
intense.
Is that, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, you got to be in the right mood, but that's not a fault to the game. Level 4-1 was absolutely unbelievable. All I'll say, I don't want to spoil it, but there's a companion that you've got from the start of that level to the end, and my word, that is, I mean, creepy as fuck. But at the same time, really, really good. The boss battles have just been some of the best I've played in in sort of a 3D platformer.
Yeah. Are you when you're going through it, are you collecting every bot and going for the chameleon, or?
Pretty much. I think I've missed 2 chameleons and maybe 2 robots along the way so far.
I bet I know exactly which 2 bots you've missed as well, because
there's one that's right at the beginning of the level that doesn't seem obvious on how to get to, and then you move forward and then it gets locked off. So you have to kind of restart.
There's
the whole
2 I had
thing
to I had to look online, because I'm like, how you hear them and you're like, this doesn't make sense. One of them's like almost like
that was it, right? So there's one where you learn how to throw a ball at things.
Yeah.
And then, so a ball appears in a little, teleporter thing or whatever, and then you pick it up and you throw it at some enemies. There's one right at the beginning of that level, and I'm like, I've got no idea how to get to that.
Well, without spoiling it, basically that one is time limited. I'll say that much.
Right, okay, fine.
And the other one, I'm like, that was probably the one I spent the longest on. So I can hear it, it's right near me, but I had to look that up. But anyway, great. So you're on what level, sorry?
I'm on 4, 5.
Yeah, you're close.
Something like that. Not far. Yeah, I'm not too far from the end. Really enjoying it. I think it's a really good game. I'll be sad when it's over, and it's offered some great moments. Yeah,
there's more stuff.
I can see why you guys liked it.
There is more stuff
totally.
to do.
I do not doubt that. Yeah. I thought it was really cool, the level with the theme park, where it finally turns into a proper 3D platformer. Yeah. You know what I mean? I felt that it could have done that a little bit earlier. Like, it felt like a proper 3D platformer for the first time.
In the beginning, it's quite on rails, isn't it? Like, to begin with.
Well,
and then
it's not about being on rails. It's that it's just the challenge in Astrobot is trying to find the robots up until that point, and then suddenly it's it's about proper 3D platforming now. So I really appreciated that it's suddenly become a 3D platformer. And I said to Matt as well, there's a minecart level in it, which, again, whatever, that was good, because it was in VR, but I felt it could have been so much better. Like, there was big moments in it where I was like, nothing's really happening during this bit. I'm surprised they didn't sort of double down on VR stuff during that sort of level.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I think the game works so well, is that it doesn't feel forced, all of that stuff, like, really. Like, they don't really overwhelm you. Although you'll probably find towards the end you might revise your opinion a little bit.
Yeah, I'm sure it will, but I just feel that sort of bit was it was kind of like, well, if you're going to do this, then really go for it. But it kind of held back, which was a bit of a shame. But yeah, no, the other game that I've been playing in VR this week is, as I've mentioned, is Wipeout. I'm blown away by how good that is. Yeah. Like, really utterly incredible. The way it deals with limiting your motion sickness is pretty special. So what happens is that you can see you can see everything, and then the cockpit sort of closes in around you. So the way it sort of deals with motion sickness is that you don't feel that you're in a cockpit as such. It's more like you're watching a 3D telly.
Okay.
And because the positioning, or how the screen stabilizes, it's like you always know where you are. It just feels like you're playing a racing game on a 3D telly. And then once you win the race, your cockpit opens up again, and then you can look around. But then I fucked with the VR settings a little bit, and I changed it so that the camera instead of the camera following the cockpit, it followed the pilot and the position the pilot would be. Wow, that fucks you up a bit. I mean, it was good. I really enjoyed it, but obviously it's really fucking hard to play like that because you're just all over the place. But yeah, that's when you start feeling the whole, whoop, oi, here we go. And my body's starting to react to this now. This is pretty mad.
But isn't it surprising, because I was expecting motion sickness from that game and didn't get any at all. And I was just amazed.
You don't get absolutely any from the default settings. Absolutely none from the default settings. And not only that, it makes you feel more... so in Astrobot, you do feel part of the world, but you don't feel like you're you in that world. Do you know what I mean? You're very aware that you're a robot camera thing that's following Astrobot, because you're not controlling yourself really, and you're not a person. But in Wipeout, you feel like you are in this big futuristic racing thing, and I don't know, it felt way more immersive in that regard. Do you know what I mean? Like, you play Astrobot and you're like, wow, this all feels real. But when you play Wipeout, you're like, I'm a fucking pilot in this fucking space car, and I'm going to win this bloody race, and they're all going to be chanting David. And then I waved at the crowd, and Joe clearly saw me, and I don't know how long our relationship's going to last, but I really enjoyed that. It blew me away. I can't wait to play some other stuff, but I realise I'm definitely going to get Astrobot done by next week. But I can't wait to try some other stuff out as well.
There is a Trackmania VR demo you should download.
Oh yeah,
I'm not going to do that. That's
it's
going
not
to
that
fuck
bad
you
at
up,
all.
isn't it? Isn't it? All right. The only other 2 games I played this week, obviously I've mentioned before that I finished Red Dead Redemption 2, utterly incredible. Enjoyed every minute of that game. I don't know if I just didn't mind the stuff that people were complaining about, or it was just I just played it in the right way, where I'd play a few missions and I'd either stop playing for a day or I'd go off and do different things in the game. And it's totally well worth finishing that game because it's incredible. It's utterly incredible.
Yeah, the end of the prologues was so good.
I had a few problems with the plot itself towards the end, which I can't really talk about. Obviously, I might have been able to talk about it last week, but obviously I got shut down. So you'll never hear those opinions. But what I will say is that it is by far and away easily the best narrative. The best plot from Rockstar.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
Sure.
Yeah.
Before that, I would say Max Payne 3 probably held that title. But I think this beats that. I really do think that they just went another level with this. It's crazy.
Yeah, so much from a more mature story than any GTA game I've played. Even though I generally prefer the GTA games to the Red Dead games, but as a mature story, yeah, this absolutely nails it.
Yeah, I mean, and GTA is not about telling a mature story, is it? That wouldn't fit in with the world that they create.
But yeah, they haven't done it.
Yeah, there's potential, but they've never even attempted it, really. I mean, the closest thing they come was San Andreas, right? But even that was a bit wacky in places.
How would you feel if the next GTA was much more serious, a bit like Red Dead? Would you think that's robbing it of... Because... Yeah, of what makes it special.
They're going to have to change what Grand Theft Auto is completely. Grand Theft Auto is a parody world.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Exactly.
Every single element within that world is taking the piss out of something within the real world. Yeah. They'd have to drop all that, otherwise it would be just such a weird clash of taking things seriously. Yeah. I mean, they have serious moments in it, and they try and convey emotion in these games here and there, but they'll never be able to do it to the level of what they have in Red Dead. Also, I mean, there's moments in this game, like cutscenes in this game in Red Dead, that made me go, holy fuck! Like, I mean, we spoke about it, and it's hard to explain, but and I won't even brush on it really. But there was a cutscene in that game where someone realizes something, and it's just by the look on their face.
Oh, yeah.
That you're like,
amazing.
Oh my god, this is so important.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm so wrapped up in this world that I'm finding this like a massive deal as well. And the realization from that character is portrayed perfectly.
Yeah, I genuinely had my mouth open at that cutscene, and there's like a couple of others. I was just like so engrossed in what's happening. It's amazing.
Yeah, and I've never had that in a game before. Like, that's an experience I've never had in a game before. I've had it in film, obviously. But yeah, there's moments like that where I just go, no game has ever been able to nail that. And you could argue that, yeah, it does follow movie trends, and it's obviously helped by the incredible graphics and the amount of money they clearly chucked at voice acting. But ultimately, it gave me feelings like, oh my god, right, okay, the second to last mission, don't say anything about it, obviously, don't even hint what it's about. That second to last mission, the last few lines in that, I had a lump in my throat. It was that good. You know what I mean? Yeah. It was that well done. I had a lump in my throat. I thought it was fantastic. So, and that doesn't happen much in computer games, and Rockstar have absolutely nailed it. So yeah, Red Dead, absolutely love it. I played a bit more Shenmue 2. What weird fucking experience I'm having with that game. I just don't get it. So many people told me that I'd love Shenmue 2 more than 1. And I'm really like, I mean, James, I'm up to where I'm up to now.
Where are you up to?
So I'm up to the bit where I need to earn $500 to see a gang member.
Right.
For literally no reason. It's like earn $500, which is basically just go and fuck around in the world for a bit until you earn money. And it's so tedious. Whereas before, my point is, in Shenmue 1, whereas before, in those moments, I would go around chatting to people, and it'd be cool because I'd be picking up on little characters. I go around the world chatting to people in this, and I've got no connection with anyone, and everyone's reply is shit.
See, I think one of the things, you see, with the first game I thought was much more sort of well self-contained, whereas the second one, there's so many more areas, isn't there, that you can like explore and go around, but they're not in as much.
There's no like characters that you recognise over and over again.
They're not in as much detail as they are in the first game, like at all. Which, and I think that was partly because it was all like truncated down, and they were trying to get it out like as quickly as possible, so it wasn't as well realised. What was the last disc on the Dreamcast is really good. That's brilliant. And also, just before you get, like, the yellow head building stuff is also pretty good as well. But, as I said, there's a bit in that which is the most annoying bit in any game ever, which I will watch you when you stream that, because it's going to be quite funny.
I will finish it, whether it'll be this year or next year. I might have a break for a while, but I will finish this game and you will get to see it. It's going to happen. I'm committed to it. But right now, I just could not be more down on that fucking game. It's unreal. And that's it. Sean.
Hello. I've also finished Red Dead Redemption 2, the computer game.
Did you enjoy it as much as I did?
Liked it a lot. We're not going to have time to do spoiler chat after this, are we?
No.
Fine.
Matt's robbed us. Go on.
It's very good. Like it a lot. That's all I have to say about that. I mean, so we've already mentioned the existence of the epilogues. I thought, they like the pace is so different in those, but they're just such a brilliant and vital part of the game. Yeah.
Yep.
Just the way it just sort of bookends everything is just it's unreal. And as you say, Rockstar games have always had good writing. They've always had like really sort of snappy, engaging writing, but never in a way that I've taken it away and thought about it. Whereas with this, I feel like I have a bit, and that's been really special.
Have you watched much Red Dead Redemption 1 stuff since completing?
I've seen a few bits. It is unbelievable.
There's some incredible moments that like incredible moments where they tie it together.
Like so often with a prequel, you just like you go in like, but we know how this ends, so it can't really do anything shocking or interesting because it can't really change the world in any meaningful way. It's like, but how about it just sets things up so perfectly, and like little sort of offhand remarks or bits of dialogue in Red Dead Redemption 1 now seem like funny callbacks to things in Red Dead Redemption 2, which is just an amazing achievement.
Well, like, let me give you an example, right? Like, so, firstly, it's funny because you look at, like, when you look at the plot, when you look back at the plot of Red Dead Redemption 1, you're like, fucking hell, this was so nonsensical. Yeah. It's so weird. Like, I mean, you got to track down your old gang members or whatever. And I'm like, what? This makes absolutely no sense when you really think about it. It's just like out of nowhere. But now you've got all this context. You're like, I totally see why everything was happening.
Yeah,
you know?
and like, because in Red Dead 1, John's always like, when I was part of the gang, like we had a code and we were sort of more or less honourable, and then it all went to shit. And you sort of, as the player, you're a bit like, well, I've just got to take your word for that. I don't really know if I believe you, but whatever. But yeah, and then in Red Dead 2, you see it, and it's like...
Well, I thought the nicest touch I saw, and I only just come across it, it wasn't like pointed out to me in a YouTube video. I was just reading about characters from Red Dead 1. Do you remember the Strange Man?
Yes.
So, essentially God, right?
Yeah, or the Grim Reaper, God. It's not really clear,
Well, the Grim Reaper, but then, I mean, there's a line in it where he says, damn you, and the Strange Man replies, many people have. Yeah. God damn, all that sort of stuff, right? At one of the points, he's saying, well, how do you know me? John Marston goes, well, how do you know me? This is in Red Dead Redemption 1, by the way, right? He says, well, how do you know me? And he said, well, I'm wherever you are. I saw you in Mexico. I saw you on the ranch. I saw you. He said, I saw you when Dutch shot that little girl on the ferry.
Yes.
And I was like, oh my fucking word. Like, so for obviously, those of you, I mean, right at the start of Red Dead Redemption 2, they're running away from a heist that they had on a ferry where Dutch apparently shot a girl. Yeah. And I'm like, and that's sort of, I remember playing that just thinking, we'll find out what happens later. And I'm not going to say whether you do or you don't, but the fact that that was mentioned in Red Dead Redemption 1, now obviously that's not like for planning back then. It's just that they picked up that line from Red Dead Redemption 1 and then put it in number 2. Like, so clever.
Yeah, it feels like
so
it was
well
all
done.
Written as one thing, which it wasn't, you know.
As it was, yeah, of course not, yeah.
And again, you know, that sort of cynicism you go in with, like, you can go into Red Dead 2, like, well, we know Arthur isn't around in Red Dead 1. So something happens. Like, maybe he just gets away. Who knows? Like, whatever. But he is not one of your targets in Red Dead 1.
Yep.
So again, you're like, yeah, I've got the fucking measure of this. I think I know what happens. And maybe you have. I thought it was telegraphed quite clearly. But even so,
you haven't.
It's quite how well it's handled just completely threw me. Yeah. Ridiculous game.
That's what's going to kill me. I mean, they're important points that we need to talk about, and we can't. Yeah. Like, if it comes down to it next week, there's some important moments we need to talk about, but we can't.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. I don't know. Yeah,
we'll work it out.
Maybe none of us will pick it. Who knows? Find out in a bit. Just a couple of quick ones. Destiny 2. Have you guys seen what they've done?
Go on.
Have you seen what they've done with the new fucking DLC?
No.
So new DLC's come out. So before the DLC came out, your power level cap was 600, right? I'm at like 550 something. They put out the new DLC and they're like, right, first activity, you've got to be like 610. So if you were the maximum power level before the DLC and then you bought the DLC, you've got to grind some stuff before you can even do the new stuff.
Oh, wow.
That's so weird.
How you've got to grind 60 light levels, 60 light points.
What?
You were 550, right?
Yeah, but he's saying the maximum.
So for me,
was
like
600.
Yeah, so even if you'd absolutely maxed out your character prior to the DLC coming out, you would still have to just be like, oh well, I guess I'll do some more strikes or whatever until I'm good enough to actually.
That's the
do
most
the DLC.
Destiny thing I've ever heard. Like, what was their reasoning for that?
I've no idea. I mean, you know, obviously some of the fans are like, well, it's endgame content. What do you want? It's like, no, that's beyond endgame content. That's no one can. Yeah. So like, I quite happily would have picked up the season pass, but like, literally everyone's like, there is no point until you get to like 600-ish. So yeah, I've played a bit of that, but just thought that was interesting. Bungie are already listening, and they've like dropped the entry to like 605, and they've sort of said like, we know this isn't the permanent fix, but it's all like we can throw a switch and do this now, and look at fixing it like more permanently further down the line.
Jesus Christ, why didn't they?
Yeah, I know it's insane, but there you go. Also, I think I am near the end of Gardens Between.
Fucking hell! Why? Like how? I mean, it's not long.
No, I know. I had like just one good session on it. You know, I was saying like I really want to just stick the headphones on and just like properly focus on it. Well worth doing. Like the sound design in that game is impeccable.
Yeah,
and the
it's
soundtrack's
brilliant,
beautiful as well. Yeah, so
the
nice.
music's fucking fantastic.
Yeah, I'm on like the second set of like nighttime levels. I presume that's getting towards the end.
Maybe
not.
Don't remember.
No, okay.
You've got to be near the end. I mean, it really
it's only
isn't
like a 2-and-a-bit-hour game.
I know, yeah. Yeah. Just the way it just so effortlessly, just like, hey, it's a new mechanic. It's really interesting. You will never see it again. Like nothing outstays its welcome, and yet it's all just beautifully implemented. Like, even though it's constantly throwing new stuff at you, you don't feel like you're constantly like, oh, fuck's sake, what do I have to learn this time? It's just always like, oh, okay, that's interesting and weird. And yeah, it's beautiful. Really
how many times have you gone, fucking hell, what a good idea?
Yeah.
I mean, like
it's at every level, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's
it really is.
Yeah.
It's so intense with that. It's just like, once you work something out, oh my God, yeah, that's a good, brilliant.
Yeah, and like you compare it to, I mean, it's still a puzzle game, but quite different. Something like The Witness, where like each mechanic is like you start like you'll find a certain area of the map and it'll introduce a certain mechanic, and it's like a whole process where you're figuring out everything at the most basic level, and then it just gets harder and harder and harder and harder until eventually you've totally mastered it, and that's really cool. But then to have like this at the other end of the spectrum, that's just like bam, 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 every level.
Yeah, I mean, it's two completely different ways of doing a puzzle game where you feel like a genius. You know, one is very considered and ramps up. It's a completely different pace. This is just like small, tiny little areas with incredible ideas that will blow you away. So there's no right or wrong, but it's just two completely different ways of doing it. Great examples of doing it in two different ways.
But that's it for me.
James, you've got quite a list in front of you, son.
Yeah, I've got a couple of things. I mean, I've reduced the list slightly since I put it on there, because there's a lot of stuff that I've got which I've only just really started, and there's not really that much to say.
Which ones? What have you just started?
Well, I got what's it called, Katamari. I downloaded that, but I haven't really put any time into it at all. Have you played it? You played the demo, yeah?
I played the demo, yeah.
How was it?
Yeah, it's great. I suppose it doesn't look amazing, but then it never did. Mm-hmm. It's always had this weird sort of textureless art style, which, I think is by design, but also I think it's because technically it was quite a weird game to try and fit on a PlayStation 2. So it's kind of, I don't know, it always looked a bit weird, so I don't think it looks bad now. But yeah, I'm definitely going to buy it because they're not charging a fortune for it.
How much is it?
It's just it was only about 13 quid.
16 quid?
Oh, is it? Okay. Yeah, it's not that expensive. So, yeah, I got that because I had some PayPal credit left over after I bought Smash Brothers, which, So that's the other major game that I bought like at the end of last week, mostly because like my son really, really wanted to play it. I mean, he was up at like 5 on Friday morning just saying, "Have you downloaded it yet?" And I was like, "No." It's that will happen like maybe later.
Jesus.
Well, he gets up at 5:30 every day anyway, but it was like it was particularly don't start all that, Matt, with you like gets up at 7:30 every day, you know, all that. It's
he's never got up at 7:30.
It's insane, isn't it? It's like he's up at
fucking madness.
5:30 every day nearly. It drives me mad. And anyway, but so he really, really wanted to play it, and I mean he's played it more than I have. Like so far, I mean, he could probably tell you a lot more about it than I can. But I mean, there's a couple of things.
Go on, get him.
Wake him up.
He's sleeping at the moment. And when he's sleeping, there's no way you're getting him up again. The other day, is Harry like that, Dave? Like just completely just gone, like when he's sleeping. Because my daughter's not like that. She's like wakes up at the tiniest sound and is just like creepy and odd like that. But my son, it's just like, you know, he's just completely gone. Like the other day I went into his room, he'd fallen out the bed and he'd also crawled under the bed and was sleeping under there. And it's just like, he just moves around the whole time. It's just really annoying. But anyway, so he's played loads of it. I mean, there's a couple of things that I feel about it. I mean, I played the Wii U version quite a lot, and this feels really quite similar to me so far. And I'm not keen about the way that the characters are unlocked. That's something which is irritating me a bit, because apparently it takes 12 hours to like unlock every single character. But
there's so many of them.
Yeah, I know, exactly. Unless you cheat, and there's a way you can do it a lot quicker, but I ain't going to do that. But like from the beginning, like when you just start Smash, it only presents you with the characters from the original game. So there's only like 7, I think, like to start off with, and they do start to unlock like reasonably quickly, but it still takes like quite a long time. I mean, that's quite annoying if you're just starting off and like you've got like, you know, like my son had no idea about the idea that you had to like unlock all this stuff and everything, and it's like he's just
because that's really strange actually, because I think Harry would love that so much more. To like do stuff in the game and then it goes, no, you got such and such. He fucking loves that.
It's good. I mean, he's loving that, but then it's the whole thing of like in the beginning, it's like if the characters that are there from the start are not really ones that you care about or interested in, then it's not quite as good.
Yeah, I guess.
But either way, I mean, yeah, he's unlocked way more stuff than I have, and he keeps on saying to me like, oh, you know, I've just look which one I've unlocked and stuff like that. I mean, there is some cool stuff like because it's got like the Splatoon characters in it. And I did find myself smiling when I was playing on like that stage, because it's like they're all shooting like the ink at each other, and there's just like paint everywhere. I was like fighting as like Mario, and like Mario's just covered in paint, and it just looks, it's just the sound, all that, it's just so good. The other thing which I've seen other people complain about, which is the same again as with the Wii U version and the 3DS one, is that the UI continues to be just like a horrible mess. I mean, it's nearly as bad as the Xbox One. It's really terrible to just navigate everything. It's not obvious what there is. That's another area which isn't so good. But the single player side of it really does seem to be a massive step up, because it's got like this whole like quest that you can do now, which is like the Spirit Links thing, which again, I was watching the intro to that with my son, and he was getting so into it. Like, it was because it's like all the Nintendo characters there, and they all get hit by these beams of light and like disappear, but they're all trying to like run away from them. And he was getting properly invested in like these. He was like, going, "No, Mario, no, don't, just keep running like that." And then it just like he's like, boom, he's like gone. And yeah, he was loving that. It was pretty good.
What do you mean, boom? Then he's gone.
Well, he's just gone. Like the character's just like absorbed into this light and then disappeared. And then like the whole point
Terrific.
is, Well, then also they get turned into puppets, which is like a bit odd.
Oh my god, this is.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I would say he was traumatized, but he was kind of like a bit shocked by what was going on.
I wouldn't say he's traumatized.
Yeah, but he was enjoying it, and he's been enjoying playing that, and so have I. It's kind of good. I haven't played any online yet. And as I understand, like some people say that the it's really buggy. Other people say it's not at all. But it's just, I mean, this is Smash Brothers, but just with so much content. And I know it's going to be a game that we're going to keep going back to and keep playing like all the time, because they do seem to have nailed it in terms of like the amount of content there is and like modes and everything. I mean, I was pleased that there is more of a single player mode. I mean, this single player mode has a whole thing whereby you're trying to sort of bring all these characters back. And you kind of unlock them by fighting different other characters, but then you get like these add-ons that you connect to like your party, which then like improves their stats and everything for if you're going up against the other one. And then you've got like this whole sort of like rock paper scissors kind of thing when you come up and then think, okay, which of my allies do I need to connect to my main fighter, to give me an advantage here and stuff like that. So there's some thought gone into it as well. It's good. It seems good. It's just I need a lot more time with it.
So what's the single player like? Do you play like 5 matches and you've unlocked a new character? You do it for every for all 80 odd characters or what?
No. What it is it's a massive map which is like sort of shrouded in fog, and then you sort of like it's like the Mario world, like overworld, kind of thing, where you just like travel from like stage to stage, and then each time that you battle, it doesn't necessarily unlock a new character, but it can unlock these like support characters instead, and then gradually you like open up more and more of the map. I mean, there's 2 ways you can unlock characters, either by playing just like regular Smash or by playing through the Spirit missions. And I think the Spirit missions are supposed to be a bit faster. I'm not entirely sure though. But that's where a lot of the meat of the single player is.
So you must be pretty psyched about the fact they announced that the game was is it Joker from Persona?
Yeah, we've got Persona's going to. Yeah, I was saying I just hope they get some of the music across as well, because that was like one of the best things. But yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, there's also rumours there's going to be like Fortnite as well. Is like going to be another like characters from that they're going to put in, which I can imagine that'll probably go down well with some people. But yeah, there's
part of me is ashamed. Like, I know they broke this ages ago, but part of me is a little bit bummed out that it's not just Nintendo characters. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Which is pathetic. I know it don't make much of a difference, but like, it kind of, I don't know, I wouldn't say cheapens it, but I mean, I kind of liked it when they added Sonic, because it's, Sonic and Mario fighting against each other, that's pretty cool, but some of them I'm kind of like, do we need Fortnite characters in this?
Yeah.
I guess it doesn't really make a difference, but at the same time, I don't know, weird.
I always thought a bit
it's not a Nintendo. It's not a celebration of Nintendo anymore, is it? It's a
celebration of gaming, isn't it? It's just everything is in it now, which is kind of crazy.
Which I suppose is better. Is better. So I shouldn't feel like that. But I'm not going to lie to you. A part of me is kind of like, I wish it was just Nintendo stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why.
I think because Nintendo have like quite a sort of specific ethos towards the way they create things, and so there is like an incongruity with. I don't know, why did I pronounce that like that?
There is an incongruity,
with like, when they put like Solid Snake in for the first time, and then it was like, oh, okay, fine, I guess.
Yeah.
And then as you say, sort of for some reason, Fortnite to me is just exists on like a different plane somehow, and I'm just like, wow.
I don't know
if that works.
A Candy Crush now. It's like what do you call it? I mean, I know it's a running joke. Oh, where's Waluigi? But there's this part of me is like, don't put the Fortnite guy in. Just put Waluigi in. You know what I mean? Because there's some kid out there that fucking loves that little dude. You know what I mean?
But there's more kids out there that love Fortnite, which I think is the thing.
Yeah, no,
they'll do all the dances, lads. They'll do the dances.
They'll floss you off of the battle arena, whatever.
You can't have a pop of that. They're flossing in Astrobot as well, wouldn't they?
No, yeah, I mean, one of the things I thought was weirdest was when they added like Street Fighter characters, because that just felt odd to me because it's like
that felt odd, and
it's
Pac-Man
like they're not,
and stuff.
Because they're not going to control in the same way, and that just feels wrong. You know, it's just I don't know. That's the thing, but yeah, I mean, you're intending to get this, aren't you, Dave? Like eventually.
February the 24th of 2019, we will have that game in the house. Yeah, he wants it for his birthday, but he wants Mario Party more, so that's the Christmas present for him.
Yeah, I have no interest, but I did sort of feel like I was missing out on this massive thing that everyone was raving about over the weekend. I mean, I've never played one. I've watched a bit about it. It looks fine, but so I don't really get it, I guess, because I haven't played it. But I did feel like I was sort of missing out by not playing the big game.
I don't think you'd miss out. I honestly don't. I honestly don't think you get on with it, to be honest, Matt.
No,
it's just completely fucking manic, and the only reason why I like playing it, and I'm assuming James likes playing it to some extent, is the huge amount of nostalgia for Nintendo stuff. Yeah. You know what I mean?
It's that, and it's also, this is something I can play with the kids as well. Like, it's like, that's how I'm going to be playing this game mostly. I'm not going to be playing this on my own that much, but it's good for that. And like when you meet other people and stuff, you can play together. It's good for that.
Yeah.
So the other thing I played is I played the Sega Megadrive collection as well that came out on Switch, which is actually really quite good, I feel.
Well, yeah, I saw the fucking game list for it, and it was insane. There's so many games on it.
Yeah, I mean, it's got, I think it's 51 or 52 games, which is, I mean, that's like a massive list. I mean, there is like a kind of a, there's good and there's bad on there, but it's majority good, I would say. Although, I mean, if you like treasure games, you'll be very pleased, because there's about, I think there's 7 treasure ones on there, yeah. But I've got to be honest, I've never been a fan of their games that much. I think they're okay, but I don't really get the whole like massive love for them. But that's just me. But I mean, the other thing that's a bit disappointing is obviously it's missing. It always feels it feels like it's missing a couple of things. Like it's missing Sonic 3, and it's like missing like Sonic and Knuckles and stuff like that. Which it's a shame they're not on there. I believe that isn't that because of like audio licensing or something that they still have problems with that.
Well, you can buy Sonic and Knuckles on. Well, it's on Game Pass, isn't it?
Yeah, you can buy it on 360. I mean, that's what it was on. But for some reason, a lot of these collections never seem to include it. I mean, a lot of the games on this list are like from the earlier days of the Mega Drive. There's like stuff on there like Kid Chameleon and Bonanza Brothers and stuff like that. But then there is also a bunch of other stuff like Dynamite Headdy and like Ristar and stuff that came out like really towards the end of like the life. And it's. I mean, I feel it's a pretty good package. I mean, the main thing that I was most pleased about, which I'm sure that someone is now going to argue with me about, is I thought the sound emulation was pretty not bad, actually. I mean, the first thing I immediately did was load up Streets of Rage 2, and it sounded okay to me. Like,
I don't think I would argue with you if you're saying it's pretty not bad and it's okay. It's not like you're saying it's the greatest sound reproduction of all time.
I mean, yeah, it's because obviously this is through emulation, isn't it? But what I'm saying is, it's like usually when you like in the past when I've loaded these up before, there's always problems, like really clear like problems. Whereas this time it sounds fine to me. It sounds like absolutely okay.
What Matt's saying is that people are not going to be angry at you for having the most non-committal opinion of all time.
I think it's pretty not. It's okay-ish. I'm going to fight you for it. Fight me. So if anyone's listening,
you know what's going to happen? There's going to be some nerds going to come out and be like, "Oh, it's in a different sound range" or something like that. It's a different DMA card. That kind of thing.
I think this game is sort of okay. So sue me.
Yeah, you say it's sort of not okay. I think it's. You say it's sort of okay. I think it's sort of okay-ish. I'm going to fight you.
But there is some other good.
I mean, yeah, the Mega Drive sound chip is relatively difficult to emulate properly, isn't it? A lot of emulators you get weird glitches and stuff. So,
but this sounds fine. So I'm sticking with that. It sounds absolutely fine, and I've got no problems with it. So there's that. But then the other thing,
without a cause.
The other thing that is pretty cool about it that is pretty good about it is like the menu system and everything. Have you seen this? Anybody? Probably not.
It's someone's front room or something, isn't it?
Yeah, it's basically you're like a bedroom from the early 90s, and it's like it's like in 3D, and you like pan around. There's like a Super Soaker underneath a table, like Super Soaker 500. It's got like the horrible gaudy like grey. Like duvet and all that kind of thing. I mean, it does look like, and it's got like a 14-inch TV, and it's I don't know, it does take you back a bit. It's take you back a bit.
The controllers that are plugged into the thing in the front, are they just tangled up to fuck? Like all the wires just like curled up where your mum's wrapped the wire around the pad when she's been tidying your room. That's wind me right up.
That's attention to detail they've not gone into, but you know,
well, that's it. Half-assed,
but you know, there's
the Sony mini PlayStation. Whatever, continue, go on.
But there's a lot of good stuff on there. I mean, they've also got like achievements and stuff they put into it, and like challenges and stuff. You know, like get through stuff without getting hit and all that kind of thing. And I don't know. I just think in general, it's worth it. I really think it's pretty good. I mean, it's certainly better than like how the PlayStation Classic seems to have turned out. Like they seem to have done
35 quid though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's about 35, I think. But I know. But think of it this way. I mean, this is better than all the NES Online stuff there's been so far, like that's significantly, true. And that costs like whatever. So I don't know. I think this is quite good. I mean, it makes more sense to me to buy this than to buy these as like single games, as you can like through the eShop when they cost like about 5 or 6 quid a piece. It's like, you know, better to buy it this way.
That is a good point. Yep.
But but this is good. The other thing I played, which I finished, was the Council.
What?
The Council.
Oh, the Council.
Yeah,
sorry. Yeah.
So this is like part 5, so it's like the final part of the series, and so the final episode. I mean, you've heard me talk about this before, but it doesn't fix any of the technical problems that they were like already, and in fact they get worse. I think in this release. I mean, it may be. I mean, I think it may just be because I'm playing it on Xbox One, and maybe it's just because my Xbox is really old or whatever. But it's still got like audio breakup. There's like speech overlap. There's like stuttering. And like the movement of the characters is not good, and especially there's certain bits where it's like it pauses all the time and stuff like that. And it's a shame because it really kind of takes you out of the atmosphere, which is the thing that this game, like from the beginning, nailed really well. You know, was this sort of idea of like this mansion and like the sounds. You know, I mean, you know how it is, Sean, when you're walking around that mansion, is like that creaking that goes on.
Yeah.
It sounds just like an English heritage property or something like that. You know, it's really good, like the way they've done that. Yeah. And that's kind of great. And that never really gets boring. It's just that the technical issues, as I said, like they just break the illusion, which is kind of a shame. But I mean, you see, it's difficult to talk about this without, because I don't want to ruin the story for anybody that's thinking about buying it. His episode was more linear than I was expecting it was going to be, but and also I felt throughout the whole of this that I was being sort of funneled down. Like it was beginning to reduce down the options for the conclusion that I was going to get, and then the conclusion I got didn't really surprise me because it was kind of what I was expecting. So then I just thought, okay, well then it's just that's showing the kind of the limited side, you know, like of the design. But it turns out I was wrong because I went on YouTube and had a look at those, you know, those like, you know, alternative endings for like, you know, for the series.
Yeah.
And it's like one of the videos like 45 minutes long of the thing. And it turns out that actually it's significantly more complex than I realised in terms of like the different permutations that you can go through. I mean, the ending sort of confrontations and everything generally play out the same in a similar kind of way, but the detail in it is crazy. Like there's stuff that I'd forgotten that had happened in like episode 1 that completely, totally affects like the ending that you get. And it's like if you like screwed something up in like the first episode and didn't realise it, you only find out like right at the end, and you'll get like an ending which is like horrendous, like maybe. So this was really cool actually, and this is when I began to like sort of shift my opinion. That's
a really good sign as well, because if you get to an end to a game of a game like that, and you just think. Like, that was one of the reasons why I sort of respected Detroit on some level, is that when I got to the end of it, I just thought, well, that just played out of what the hell? And then when I looked at your playthrough, I was like, wow, that is wildly different to mine. You know, it wasn't just a bit different. This was completely different. And that made me respect it a little bit more, because at the time, it wasn't obvious that I was making one choice or the other, and that was going to affect the game. So I didn't really pick up on it until I looked at other playthroughs, and I was like, "Fuck, yeah, this is wildly different."
Yeah.
So that's always a good sign, I think, for the games like that.
And that's exactly what this does. And it's like I was really shocked, honestly, by like some of the different like ways things can pan out. I mean, overall, I still was not entirely happy with the way that because it shifts. Oh, see, I don't want to say anything because it'll totally ruin it if anyone plays it. But there's a massive tonal shift in like about the third episode, and I still was not entirely happy with the way that panned out. But that's just me, and it may be that other people will play that and feel that they like the way that went. I think. I mean, and also, as you said, because I saw like sort of the diversity of the way that this can play out, you realise that with the systems they've added, like such as like the leveling up characters, focusing on different stuff, it does really matter. It's just that it's not apparent until right at the end that it's really going to matter, and that is kind of cool. And so, yeah, I think this is definitely worth looking at. Like, if you like adventure games, definitely play this series, and just don't be put off by the middle thinking that it doesn't matter, because actually it does. It's it's really good. It's
cool. Fair enough, because I really enjoyed the first 2 episodes of this, and then you pretty much put me off.
Yeah, sorry.
No, it's fine. It's because it sounded like it really went off the rails. But no, I'll crack on with it.
Yeah, I definitely would have a bit, go a bit further with it, because it was significantly better than I thought. So yeah, it was great.
Cool.
And that's about it. I mean, I've been still playing Pokemon, but I'm close to the end now of that. I'm up to the Elite Four, so yeah, that's good. And that's
Congratulations, James.
Yeah, I thought you'd be pleased, but yeah,
I am. But I'm more excited about what's coming up now.
Yeah.
Shit.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, I'm tense
Game
now.
of the year.
I'm actually tense.
So am I, actually. It's the GOTY Draft 2018.
Do we need to explain this again, just in case?
Yeah, sure. So next week, we will release our Game of the Year show. We do it a little bit differently to other people. Not everyone, because some ideas have been stolen. But what we do is, between the 4 of us, we nominate 4 games.
4 games each.
Giving us a total of 16. Next week, we draw them out of the hat and we face them off 1-on-1. The idea is that there's 4 of us, and a game needs at least 3 votes to go through to the next round. If it goes to 2 each, then we just argue until someone breaks. That's the idea. And then a game goes through, and we keep going through the rounds until we're left with one final Game of the Year. The first time we did this, the winner was Trackmania Turbo. That was 2016.
I can't believe that.
2017's Zelda
It's a good game.
It's
not laughing at it. It's good.
But no one have ever
But that's
picked
what I'm
that
saying. It was up against Res
Infinite.
What was it? Res what did
It's
they
Res
call
Infinite.
it?
Res Infinite.
Res Infinite, right? But the thing is, Res Infinite beat Inside in the semi-final, and I still think if Inside had beaten Res and gone to the final, I think Inside would have been the Game of the Year. It's so bizarre, but there you go. It's the way the system works, right? Last year, Breath of the Wild won. This year, we've been making tactical moves since about September. So this week's show, we nominate our games. Now, we don't talk about the games. That's all saved for next week. There's no discussion about why you're nominating the game or whatever. But we just say the name of the game. They go down on the list. If there's a game in your head that doesn't make the top 16, you, dear listener, get to pick one to go on that list. We'll explain that after we've put our list together. But don't worry, if there's a game that you like that's not nominated, you'll get your chance to get it on the list. And we'll explain that next. So I've got 4 names screwed up next to me, which just happen to be our names.
Convenient.
What a coincidence. I'm going to pull them out one by one, and that's the order in which we're going to get to nominate. Okay?
I am nervous.
So,
I've been
first name
nervous
out
all
of the
day,
hat.
actually.
The first name out of the hat is me. So I'm happy with that. And I'm going with Red Dead Redemption 2. So that's
inevitable. I was one. No, we're not discussing it. So it's fine. Go on.
What?
I was just going to say, I wondered if that was going to be one that we were all like, oh, well, someone else will pick that.
Well, this is it, isn't it? There's part of me that's thinking, don't nominate that yet. But also, I've won 2 years on the trot. They've both been my games, so I'm kind of thinking. Right, okay, next name out of the hat is James Farley.
Okay, my first nomination is Detroit Become Human.
Are you kidding me?
What?
I'm taking
James, why?
Well, no, okay, I'm taking back control of this situation, and
No, you're not. You're nominating a game that you don't want to
You're
lose.
an idiot, James, but thank you.
I thought we weren't discussing.
yeah, we can't discuss this anyway until next week. But that is my first
I
nomination.
am dying to, but I just...
That's my first
Fucking
nomination.
And I've heard some crazy.
Are you being serious? No, you're seriously.
I'm
You want me
absolutely
to write
serious.
that down?
I'm absolutely serious. That's my first nomination.
This is a fucking power play.
This is amazing. That really saves me a lot of heartache. That's great.
Okay.
Next.
Wow, was not expecting that. I don't know what game you're playing, James, but I like it.
He's losing it already.
Matt Murray. Third game.
I can't believe.
I can't believe you've got. I mean, you've liked a lot of games this year, James, and you're willing to give that up for what, a petty argument?
We'll discuss this next week.
All right.
I can't. Okay,
Unless he's using it as a bargaining tool, but I don't understand how. Then I've got no. I don't. Okay, whatever.
No,
Matt.
Anyway, my first choice is Astrobot Rescue Mission.
Astrobot. Okay. And Sean.
I love all the Matt's just going to be like, well, guess I'll fucking pick this now, because...
This has saved me so much, because there's so many good games. Like, am I really going to choose, not choose an amazing game to get Detroit in? But thank you, James. You saved me a lot of pain.
Detroit is an amazing game. Go on.
Well, obviously, you picked it up for one of your games of the year, James.
Yeah.
Go on, Sean.
Celeste.
That was on my list, and it's an amazing choice, Sean.
Thank you.
The next one on mine, I'm going to go with Yaku's Island Express.
It's Yoku's. Can we just say that?
It doesn't matter. It's my game. I've nominated it. I'll call it what I want. Yoku's Island Express. Right, who was next? James.
God of War.
God of War. Okay, Matt.
Spider-Man.
It's me next. Was it?
No, it's Matt next.
Okay.
Spider-Man. Sean.
Forza Horizon 4.
Good fucking shout, lad.
Yeah,
that was on my list. Right, back to me. The Gardens Between.
Nice.
James.
Yakuza 6, Song of Life.
Ooh. Oh dear.
You say that, Dave, but we'll see. Go on.
Remember, ladies and gentlemen, you can nominate a game to get it on this list. Okay. Matt.
Oh, fuck. And those are the biggies have gone. Moss.
Okay. We're really getting down to... Okay, Sean.
Do you know what? I was umming and ahhing about this, but I'm going to do it. Far Lone Sales.
What?
Yeah.
Can you repeat the title,
mate.
please?
Fucking exactly. It is Far, FAR, Lone Sales.
And what systems is that available on, Sean?
That is available on the Xbox One and PC.
Jesus, I've got my homework. I've got homework now.
This is the problem we've been nominated for. Like, pulling it first out of the hat is, I think, the worst position to be in. Because now I've got, I would say, realistically, between 3 games that haven't been mentioned that I would quite like to have on this list.
Could we recap the list?
One's Red Dead 2. Right, so Red Dead 2, Detroit, Astrobot, Celeste, Yoku's Island Express, God of War, Spider-Man, Forza Horizon 4, The Gardens Between, Yakuza 6, Moss, Far Lone Sales.
It is a real game. I've not made it up.
Has he made this up? Has he?
No.
Hold on. Far, Oh, no, it does exist.
Yeah.
Come out in May 2018.
There you go.
What the fuck? You've not even mentioned this, have you?
Yeah, no, it's good, isn't it?
No. All right, okay. So I don't want to say what's close to getting on this list because I don't want to colour anything. I don't want to be accused of trying to get something else on this list. So I'll mention it at the end once they're all in. But I'm going to go with Onrush. Onrush.
That's a good choice. I was thinking of that.
Cheers, Lid. Right, go on, James.
See, a lot of mine have been depleted now from what I was going to go for, so I'm going to have to
Depleted.
I'm going to have to go for Tetris Effect, I think.
Yes.
Tetris
Good
Effect. Matt.
I can't believe you stole Tetris Effect from me. That was my next one. Okay, I'm going to go Guacamelee 2.
Okay. Guacas 2. Did you complete that?
I did.
Well,
Let's not get into that.
Check, James, if you want.
Which platform on that? Did you finish it?
That was PlayStation 4.
Okay.
I'm going to let you do that again to me. That's why I'm playing so many games this year.
Good, Sean.
Check his trophies, James.
I'm over your look now.
Monster Hunter World, inevitably.
Ah, for fuck's sake.
I saved that till last because I knew no fucker was going to pick it.
Right, can I tell you the two that nearly made mine?
No, go on.
Right, that's the list. So I will run through the list first before we do that. Okay. So, number 1, Red Dead Redemption 2. Number 2, Detroit. Number 3, Astro Bot. Number 4, Celeste. Number 5, Yoku's Island Express. Number 6, God of War. 7, Spider-Man. 8, Forza Horizon 4. 9, The Gardens Between. 10, Yakuza 6. 11, Moss. 12, Far Lone Sails. 13, Onrush. 14, Tetris Effect. 15, Guacas 2. And 16, Monster Hunter World. The two that I had down, the two that I had down that almost made the list is Call of Duty Black Ops 4.
Mm-hmm.
But essentially I've had so much fun with Blackout mode, but I think I could argue for Onrush better than Call of Duty. The other one that I really wanted to put on the list, but it's one of those ones that I really wanted to put on the list just for a mention, was Nintendo Labo's Variety Pack.
Yeah, I thought of that as well, but yeah, I don't think it made
I mean, I had such a great time with that, even though the games themselves weren't exactly the highlight. But I just thought it's a shame that it doesn't get on the list, you know. And I can't see the listeners putting that forward. Was anyone else? Did anyone else have some on the subs bench that almost made it, sort of an honourable mention?
Well, I had. So, you know, I've been troubled over the fact that a new Earth Defence Force game is out tomorrow or yesterday by the time this goes online, and probably would have made the list. So I was thinking, well, if we're allowed games that technically came out last year, but after we did the draft, I probably would have tried to argue to have Gorogoa. But I thought, nah, complicated, can't be asked.
No. James, you had a bit of trouble with not nominating Hollow Knight, didn't you?
Yeah, I really wanted to nominate that, but obviously not possible.
That still stings because we've talked about it too much already.
That would have been on my thing. But I also had Dead Cells as well that I considered, but it was very good, but I didn't think it was as good as Hollow Knight.
But didn't someone say Dead Cells had come out last year as well?
No, Dead Cells was this year, I'm sure.
It was in early access on PC.
We said we were okay with that. Yeah. Early access we're okay with. Yeah. Okay, so that's your list. Yeah. I think that's a fucking good list.
Yeah, I was going to say, considering last week we were like, there's been a lot of good games, but not a lot of standout ones. Actually, that's a fucking brilliant list.
It is a brilliant list, and I'll tell you something. You could definitely tell the guy that in sports, it's more about the taking part than winning. Far Lone Sails, Monster Hunter World.
Yeah, mate.
Sean Bell. Right, okay, so if there's a game that you've got in your head that should be on this list that isn't, don't have a go at us, right? Do something about it. Matt, tell them the rules. How are we going to do it this year?
So, this podcast comes out Wednesday morning. You have got until Thursday midday-ish to email thecomputergameshow@gmail.com with your suggestions for a game that we didn't list, but you feel like should be on the list. And we will basically collate those suggestions, around 2 p.m. on Thursday, we will then start a Twitter poll, and then basically that runs for 2 days until 2 p.m. on Saturday. We'll get the results. So is it the top 4 from that? I can't remember how it works.
No, well, how many does it let you vote on? How many do Twitter polls let you vote on?
It's 4, yeah. So
the top 4 from that we put up, and then you've got how long to vote?
You'll have 2 days to vote.
So 2 days to vote. The most popular game out of those 4, we will have to decide at the start of next week's Game of the Year show. We'll have to decide which one of our games gets kicked off and replaced with your game. And that's where the arguing starts.
Yeah. So basically, as soon as you're listening to this, you have until midday Thursday to email us your suggestions. And then, Thursday from 2 until Saturday at 2, that's when the Twitter poll will be there with the top 4 suggestions out of everyone that's emailed us. And then the winner of that poll will be added to the list, taking the place of one of ours.
Cool. All right, then. Fuck.
Questions?
Yeah, I'll just think about next week now. What the fuck is James up to? Number 1. Number 2, what the fuck is Sean up to?
Right. To anything. I'm just...
James, what the hell are you up to?
It's none of your business, Matt. We'll talk about it next week.
I'm actually really thankful, so thanks for that, dude.
Okay, I'm sure you believe that. But go on.
I was going to say, I don't think you're going to be thankful next week, but whatever. Right, emails. If you want to send us an email...
wildly backfires on James. Detroit wins Game of the Year. I'm going to show them by voting in every round for Detroit. That'll make a mockery of it all. It's Game of the Year, what? Go on.
Right, if you want to send us an email, thecomputergameshow@gmail.com. Andrew Smith, a.k.a. Spilt Milk Studios, says... John Romero's just announced he's releasing Sigil, an unofficial spiritual successor to the Ultimate Doom's 4th episode. It's essentially and literally a mod for Ultimate Doom made by one of the original dev team 25 years after the first Doom's release. If you could choose any game to be given a full pack of new content for, which game would it be? I think you've got to keep it PS1 era and earlier. I'd give my left lung for another pack of levels for Donkey Kong Country. Retro have made some amazing sequels, but the original has a certain something that I miss.
I was going to say Rocket League, and then I was going to say Red Dead Redemption 2. Go back to pre-PS1.
PS1 and earlier, so...
PS1 and earlier? Fuck, I can't even think of one. What was yours, Sean?
I was thinking, I don't know, I'd kill for more Earthworm Jim.
Really?
Would you, though?
Yeah, mate. Yeah, Earthworm Jim's fucking great.
Yeah,
but
it was great.
If they could not involve the weird, racist original creator, then that'd be good. Was he racist, homophobic? Well, I can forget. He's a bad fella. Keep him out and just do more.
I don't know. I mean, the problem is that back then I wasn't really completing games on the reg. So any games that I really, really enjoyed...
you probably find those extra stuff that you didn't know about anyway. If
exactly.
You went back. Yeah.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Matt?
I'll say more maps for Cannon Fodder.
Cannon Fodder was fucking clean.
I loved that back in the day.
Right, that was a good one. James?
I don't know, I'm really struggling to think of anything.
Oh, come on, you surely, I mean, you're the best out of all of us for this shit.
What do you mean?
Well, you love old games.
I do love old games, but I love old games the way they are. I can't really think of any.
You fucking pathetic twat. Go on. I just love them the way they are.
No, but I can't think of anything that you'd want to... I mean, describing that as being like a spiritual successor is nonsense. It's just there's a couple of extra levels. It's not a successor. The spiritual successor is like the one...
Yeah, all right, you don't have a go at the listener. It's just...
It's getting late, James.
It is a level pack for
exactly.
Game, yeah.
The Doom 2
that doesn't mean you don't have to answer the question.
You know, go on.
If you get more decent levels for Yoshi's Island, because all the sequels to that were a bit shit.
Yeah, I mean, I like that. And the other bad thing with this is that, all right, this isn't PS1 or earlier. Well, no, is the N64 considered pre-PS1?
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's the same era, same generation.
Same area.
So, I would say Banjo-Kazooie, but then
they did Banjo-Tooie, which
came out. They did well on that. Mario 64, then. There you go.
Yeah, that'd be
all
right.
Worlds in Mario 64. Yeah.
Fine.
That's my answer.
Matt?
I'd say mine, Cannon Fodder.
Oh, you did? Sorry, yeah, Cannon Fodder, yeah. Right, cool. Liz Walker says, my daughter is named after a character in my favourite computer game series, Baldur's Gate. I think my husband agreed because our son is technically named after a Warhammer 40k character, a fact I only realised after agreeing to the name. My question is, if you could only name your kids using names from your favourite video game series, what would they be? P.S. Hope this gives Dave some ideas if he hasn't already got a name for number 2.
Well, it's funny you should say this because John made a joke about this on Twitter not too long ago, and I took a screenshot of that tweet and sent it to Joe and was typing out, it looks like we should call our kid Cooper Trooper. And then I was like, actually, Cooper is a fucking brilliant name.
Yeah, it's a nice
I think
name.
that's a great name. I really like the name, like genuinely. And then I thought, I think I might have found the name. And then Joe just went, I like the name, but it don't work with Turner.
I was going to say Cooper Turner's a bit,
don't really work. And I was
does sound like an author.
Fucking gutted.
Cooper Turner, Soldier Spy.
Cooper Turner sounds like a spy name that I came up with when I was a kid. The actual spy name was Fred Fraser, but Cooper Turner's not that far off. I mean, yeah, I did that. Cooper, if I had a different surname, Cooper would be fucking beautiful. I really like that name.
Anyone else?
Anyone else? What's your favourite game series, Sean? Monster Hunter?
I guess, but then not really. Like, none of the characters really have fucking names in that. They're all just like the blacksmith or whatever. Like they're just
the Blacksmith Bell.
That's right. Yeah,
That sounds like a pub.
Matt, what's your favourite game series? I mean,
I don't know,
presumably nothing.
but I would like to call myself Wesker.
Like, what's your favourite game series?
I can't really think right now.
Wow. Well, like, okay, name one game series that you really, really like. Fucking hell.
You have to come back to me.
I mean, technically, Matt's
just sitting there like, oh my god, I don't think I like video games.
Yeah, I was about to say, Matt technically didn't start playing games until 2018. So.
Yeah.
Matt, James, you got one?
I don't know. I mean, Yakuza games, obviously, but that wouldn't go down very well. So,
but isn't Ash the main character from Pokemon?
Well, yeah. I mean,
Pokemon.
yeah. My son's name's Asher, but it's like it wasn't because of Pokemon. Just thought
Right, it wasn't. There wasn't that fault there at all.
No, not at all.
Right, okay, gotcha.
Definitely not. Definitely not.
I was just thinking. Right. I don't know. We're struggling with names, by the way.
Yeah.
On the side, we are really, really fucking struggling.
Man.
Yeah. We had about 30 girl names that we
easy,
were
aren't
happy
they?
with.
It's much
Josh is
easier.
Just smash them all together and give them a really massive name.
I really can't. We are really, really going through the one name that I absolutely love. I've already said it on the show. Eric. Joe is just dead against it.
So
and
I'm with her on
me.
that. I think it's a terrible name.
I think it's such a good name, Eric Turner. Fucking yeah.
It does
What a
work.
boss.
Yeah,
It
I
does.
can see that.
It'd be great when he's a 40-year-old guy in a pub, but I don't know about
No, mate. Little chubby kid, Eric.
Little
love
Eric.
it. Yeah, I love it. Okay, next question.
Can I just interrupt? James, why have you done that?
What?
Just don't worry about it,
Matt. You wait until next week.
No,
I mean,
because
you
honestly,
said, you said this wasn't bothering you, and you've been on about it ever since I did it. So you know.
No, it is bothering me. And
Oh, right, okay. Let's say this now, yeah? As long as it's not against a game that we are dead set that we think's going to be a contender for Game of the Year, like proper, yeah? If James's reasoning behind this, I'm talking to Matt and Sean now, if James's reasoning behind this is shit, then we're all voting for Detroit. Okay? Because
it depends what it's
honestly,
up against.
he needs to, if he comes out and goes, I just didn't want Matt to talk about it, so I'm voting against Detroit, then we all vote for Detroit.
I think I know what he's doing. I don't like it.
Okay. We'll hold it back. Let's find out.
It's
LP.
I'm not happy. Well,
obviously you're not happy. You've been going
Let's
on
move
about
on.
Fucking
Right.
Matt's head.
Tweets at Computer Game Pod on Twitter. I don't know why I'm reading those out because, yeah, we're doing the Game of the Year episode and then we're off for a bit. But, you know, send us tweets anyway. It makes us feel nice. Oodles So settle a discussion with me and Darren Gargett and basically the entire listener base of the Computer Game Show. What Sega games does Matt like, and has he beaten them?
I mean, I barely competed any games when I was younger, but favourite Sega games, obviously Sega Rally. Loads of racing games, Sega Rally, Max UT, Daytona. I really liked, what was that fire one? Burning Rangers for Saturn. That was great. Obviously, Knights. I've barely been in any games until like recently, in all honesty, so probably not. I love International Victory Goal, even though that was a shit one in Sega Worldwide Soccer, even though that wasn't also brilliant. But yeah, I mean, what else do you want from me?
Fair dues. Thomas at LlamaFluff42 says, following Matt's pleasantly inebriated Games Awards stream, does Dave worry there is nothing Matt won't do in his quest to generate content? And what kind of show will he be coming back to after paternity leave?
Honestly, I'm not worried at all.
I am. But go on.
I mean, yeah, well, because you're going to be working on it. I mean, I'm stepping away and not going anywhere near the show for God knows how long. So, I mean, it's not bothering me in the slightest. No, I'm not part of it anymore. All right? I hope that answers your question. Don't contact me and say, "Oh, Dave, if you are," because I just don't care, baby.
We had a bit of this with when Andy left Midnight Resistance, and he was getting tweets like, "Oh, it's not the same without you," and it's like, well, yeah. What do you want? What
are we supposed to do? There's
nothing to be done about this.
I'm not expecting any of that. I'll leave this all for the end. But if you do, if it gets massively successful, then all good. If it's total shithouse, I'm pretty sure that I can turn it around when I come back. Don't worry. I am the greatest podcaster that ever lived, and occasionally I have to face a sinking ship and just patch it up by myself. You know. Go on.
Matt, did you want to do this next bit, or am I? I don't mind.
Oh, I mean, I can do. I mean, you can do whatever. I just collated a bunch of. I asked on Twitter. It's obviously Dave's last proper show. We're doing a game of the year next week. There won't be any feedback. Won't be any emails. So yeah, I asked people, to send some messages about you. The fact, Dave, you're taking time off. Yeah, you go for it,
I've been following this.
Reading.
A shocking lack of response.
I mean, I was shocked because I was like, "Hey, Dave's last show, everyone," and then it's like barely any responses. I had to retweet it twice.
I did a little push for it as well.
Not just from the listeners, but from you three as well. Do you remember when Sean left and we all got together and bought him presents and threw him a little party? Didn't get any of that.
No, we've already said
it's a bit
you
premature
completely pooed the idea of us meeting up and doing something.
True.
Yeah, I couldn't do that, but you know my address and nothing come in the post today.
Well, this isn't the 80s. Why does it have to be in the post?
I mean, we were meeting up with Sean and half of his gifts were arriving by post.
Well, hang on. Half of them, literally.
Don't go to that again.
Yeah, it was exactly half.
I'm gutted that we've not been able to meet up and do something. That is a massive shame.
Yeah, it's just a cheat.
It is a massive shame, isn't it? Where's my presents?
Look, we're working on it. All right.
With that attitude, you're not getting me. So, okay.
Yeah. We're working on it. I can hear you logging into Amazon.com. Cheap shit. You typed in there, I could tell.
No, I missed the sales, mate. You'll have to wait till the new year.
I don't want it, Sean. I don't want a present from you guys. Fine. I mean, if Sean's more important to you guys, then fine. Go on.
So our lovely listeners have sent a bunch of stuff in. So Andrew Smith...
After we forced them twice.
After we fucking badgered them into doing it. Andrew Smith says, "It's sad you're off, and I'm really intrigued what the crew has in plan for your departure. It's sad, but it's not like when Chet and John stopped podcasting. I'm kidding, mate. Have an incredible break. Enjoy level 2 of Fatherhood. No doubt see you at Resd or EGX.
I'll be there.
Cool." David Trapmore says, "Just wanted to quickly chime in before David falls into a pit of shitty nappies and sleepless nights." I think he's already in it.
I should apologise now because we can hear the dog from here. Yeah, and that rarely happens. So,
well, I had her locked in the other room, and then she started whining. So
Well, she's ruining my moment, Sean. God.
Where are we? Computer Game Show is by far the best games podcast I've listened to. It's always a highlight of my week when the new episode drops. I often decide to re-listen to a random old episode rather than a new episode of other podcasts waiting on my feed. It helped me greatly during the many sleepless nights since my son was born, and always manages to cheer me up no matter how crap life has been. David, you'll be missed and are a big part of what makes the show great, even if you did make me more angry than I've ever been at a stranger when you berated Matt and James back on that infamous episode. However, it's all your combined voices that make the show what it is. I'm very excited to see what the show will morph into over the next year. Lot of pressure, guys. I'm feeling a bit anxious reading these now.
It's not about
can't
you.
wait to see what they've got planned. Pretty much just trying to carry on without him.
But there's no pressure on you at all, Sean. You and James, it's like you can put your feet up. Don't worry about it. It's all on me.
Yeah.
You can do whatever you want. Doesn't matter. Yeah. Everyone's going to be bollocking me.
We just show up. David Rush. So it's just a short one. Thank you for the tens of hours of quality entertainment throughout the year. To David and Joe, congratulations on your new arrival. Wish you the very best of this new chapter. To Sean, Matt, and the good doctor, I look forward to the new direction in 2019. Again, I don't know what they're more expecting.
It does sound like it.
Direction is
I
down.
feel like there's like several hundred people just like folding their arms and going, "Come on, then, lads. What have you got?" Luke Summerhays, first things first, I bloody love Dave, funny, passionate and unique. I was gutted when you broke character and apologised, to be honest. Always admired your commitment to a gag and to great sounding audio entertainment. Whenever I'm back in the UK, I'll chuck a big tip your way. Second, 2 or 3 years ago, a question of mine was read out and Dave launched into an anecdote about how there was a song he'd sing but replaced the words with my name. Did you ever remember the song? It's been killing me this whole time.
I've read to say, it's in all like Sweet Caroline, like Luke Summerhays.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't.
That's the
no, it was more modern than that. But I can't remember what it was. No, sorry, I can't remember.
Was it the Skrillex mix of Sweet Caroline?
Yeah, I think it might have been. No, I make up songs like that all the time where I replace people's names and stuff. I get that from my dad. My dad's a fucking nightmare with that. He just, so... no, sorry, I can't remember that one.
Shit.
But
also, why does he have to be in the UK to send us a tip?
Exactly. I'm going to drop the PayPal address a little bit later.
Banks work internationally last time.
Yeah, just email us. We can find a way. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, we'll sort out how you can give us money, Luke.
Just whatever it takes.
We're very kind like that. Right, Darren Gargett says, 2 kids, David, are you insane? Good luck to Jo. She's going to need it with 3 of you to control. Zoe Harwood says, I love all you guys and the podcast will remain essential listening, but gonna miss the main one. All the best to you and your growing family, David.
Cheers.
Stuart Baker says, good luck with baby Hank.
I appreciate y'all.
Thomas Salamafor42 says, this makes for bloody boring podcasting, so inevitably won't be read out. I haven't read the rest, so let's see how we go. But just want to say I'm really going to miss the main one. Hope you have some wonderful family time, Dave, and hopefully you can repair the damage Matt does to the pod on your return. Martin DeGoose says, just want to say thanks, David, for all the awesome podcasting you've done over the years. Joypod along with the computer game show has been amazing, and I also want to say the community and Discord that has grown out of the computer game show is a great thing. Good luck with the little uns. And finally, TCGS fans says, hi all, just want to say a huge well done on a fantastic year of shows and content. Not only have you smashed out the park with the Twitch streams, YouTube and consistent podcasts, you've done 2 live shows, both of which are excellent. The podcast podcast is a genuine highlight each week, makes my occasional 2+ hour commute feel virtually non-existent. It's usually sad to see Dave leave, but I'm super stoked to see what's in store for the future. Again. Hopefully he can be a guest from time to time, roll on 2019. Actually, I thought that was a pretty good turnout in the end, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not bad.
It is. So I suppose I better do my bit. What was that?
Sorry, James failed to mute. We finally got it on tape.
We caught one.
That's the best present I've ever got.
James has been saving that for weeks.
Yeah.
That's
it sounded like a fart.
So that's annoying that I was just about to note down the time and insert silence on that bit, but I guess there's no point.
Don't leave it in because we've referenced it. Okay, right, yeah. So, next week is going to be business as usual. So, what I mean is it's down to business. There's no fucking about, no chat. We won't have time for any of this. So, I just want to say the last year of podcasting has been absolutely incredible. I've said it time and time again that getting to podcast at EGX and Res the way that we did and meet some listeners and just get to live the dream, basically. I know it sounds like that's cheesy as fuck, but it was living the dream. And, you know, what we've been doing this show for 3 years now, and it's never felt like a chore. It's never felt hard to do in terms of, you know, working with Matt, James and Sean. I've loved every moment of it, and it feels really like it's gutting to leave at this point, to be honest, because like even Jo said to me just before we recorded tonight, she was like, "You really enjoy it on Monday nights, don't you?" And I said, "Yeah, like that, I do." She was like, "Well, sorry, you have to give it up." And I'm like, "Well, you're not making me give it up. It's the right thing to do." And not only like what some people don't understand is that, you know, I live in a 2-bedroom masonette, and trying to podcast, forget the tiredness and how busy you are and stuff like that. But I mean, just sitting down for like 2 to 3 hours without having to get up and do stuff with a kid is like with a baby is it's just impossible. It's not possible to do. And I'm fully intending that when things do settle down, which they do eventually, then it will be possible to start up again. But I think that's a long way off, to be quite honest with you. But regardless, you know, next year it goes without saying that, you know, Matt, Sean and James are incredible at this. They're incredibly funny, and they know what they're doing. And there's part of me that's like really, really excited to become a listener, and just listen to the show. You know, they know what they're doing, clearly. And I think if you don't mind me saying, Matt and James certainly didn't have as much experience as Sean and I, when they first started the computer game show when it comes to podcasting. But I mean, the way they have taken to doing this stuff, I mean, you know, they started off pretty bloody good. But they've only got better as it's gone along. You know what I mean? And what I don't want that to sound like is like some sort of diss, but you got to understand that it takes a fucking long time to get used to talking into a microphone in this way. And I mean a fucking long time. It takes many hours of recording stuff, but it just, you've managed to get to, Sean, sorry, I'm talking to Matt and James. You've managed to get to a level so much quicker than I ever did when I first started podcasting that, you know, people jokingly ask me whether I'm worried about next year and what's happening to the show. And as I say, it goes without saying, absolutely not. I'm just excited although I'm bummed out that I'm not going to be a part of it for a while. I can't wait to become a listener, because I'm genuinely a fan of the show. Genuinely a fan of the show, as well as being a part of it. So yeah, I thanks for all the lovely messages. Everyone that contacts the show, everyone that has spent time listening to us or getting in touch or not getting in touch. If you're listening to this now and you listen every week and you've never got in touch, that's, you know, I appreciate you as much as anyone else. You know, it's great that you've been, I don't know, you've reacted to the show in a way that I could never have imagined. You know, that like people seem to get it and get what we're doing here. And, as bummed out as I am to be leaving for a while, I'm incredibly excited about where the position that the computer game show is in now is incredible, and I'm excited about where it's going in the new year. So, thanks. I mean, just thanks for putting up with me to you three, and yeah, good luck next year. Not that you need it. I'm pretty confident that everything's going to be fine, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So, yeah, good. You've got yourself a new fan, a new listener.
Well, that's +1.
Yeah,
listeners.
+1.
We're already in profit.
I mean, not an extra download, because I already download it every week anyway. But yeah, new listener. Yeah, Matt, have you got anything to close the show? You doing the social media and stuff?
I mean, I could do, but I guess, next year is going to be a massive year. Obviously, it won't be the same about Dave, but we'll just, all of us work our asses off to make it as good as we possibly can. I mean, nothing's going to stop me. I mean, like 6 beers on Saturday night didn't stop me doing a stream at 1 a.m. Like a whole year of working my ass off isn't going to stop either. And then the idea is basically...
Can I take back my confidence on next year, please?
The idea is to make it, so good that you'll be desperate to come back, Dave. That's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do for sure.
To save it.
He is going to be infuriated, though. There's going to be so many points where like one of us is going to get away with some total bullshit, and he's going to be chucking his phone across the room.
But that's what the feedback section is every week. Like David's texted again.
This David Turner's guy
tweet from David
again. Was it?
Well, this is it. This is kind of why I'm going to delete the email. I'm going to remove myself from the group.
Yeah,
I'm going to, I don't want to be Alex Ferguson at Old Trafford. You know what I mean? Like, that's not what I want to do. So hopefully none of you will hear from me for a long time. And that's, other than, personal text messages where I'm screaming at you for saying something shit. But yeah, cool. All right. Well, the other thing is that this is technically the last computer game show, proper one, of the year. So give us your money. Little Christmas tip. You can tip us by going to paypal.me/the computer game show. Now remember, these guys didn't get me a present. Yeah? Now it's your turn to step up.
Like, don't send money in and be like, oh, this is specifically for Dave.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah,
we split totally everything 4 ways.
You can totally do that. And I will make sure that that's happened. Look at Sean. I want to cut the goodwill towards Dave.
Yeah.
No, I'm joking, of course. If you'd like to give a tip, then that's the address. If you don't, then that's fine too. I still love you.
To be clear, I was also joking. If you just want to send Dave money because he's got a second kid on the way, I don't envy him. So if that is absolutely
I know what he's got to come.
Oh, Jesus Christ. We'll see you next week for the Game of the Year show.
I'm nervous already.
Wait, just send us your suggestions. Email your suggestions for games we didn't cover on our list of 16 to the computer game show.
Only, is it? Yeah.
It's just
email.
Yeah, let's keep it to email because obviously it'll be like too complicated. Yeah, so it's thecomputergameshow@gmail.com. Email your suggestions. You've got until midday Thursday this week to get suggestions in. Then look for the Twitter poll. It's going on for 2 days from 2 p.m. Thursday to 2 p.m. Saturday. The winner of which will knock one of our 16 games out for the Game of the Year episode next week.
You'll knock it right out.
Knock it right out.
Thanks for living it. We'll catch you next week to find out what was Game of the Year 2018.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
The twist